Ancient prophecies telling us that the world will be transformed.
Wacky World of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the Wacky World of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? It's the Wacky World of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the Wacky World of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? He makes all this stuff up and claims that it's all true. The aliens want to eat us. Be careful that they don't get you. It's the Wacky World of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the Wacky World of Wilcock. How much money can you steal? It's the Wacky World of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the Wacky World of Wilcock. How much money can you steal?
This is where if I have a live audience, I get everybody to hug each other. I say, give your neighbor a handshake or a hug, whatever you feel is appropriate to you. And that way everybody feels the love a little more. I will never believe it, I will never believe it. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you need 25,000 more years, I don't know, buddy. But look, this is really compelling information, and it's going to get a lot more intense. It's coming up in a couple days here on Sunday, so if you haven't already signed up, we have reopened the cart. We still have the payment plan in place. That account, I believe, is real. I've watched it for a long time, and he says a lot of really provocative stuff there that has definitely caught my attention on many, many occasions. I've heard this briefing many times. Incredibly, incredibly sad, but probably a lot more than just what it looks like on the surface. If you don't really see what's going on here, this might not make sense.
You walk into this room at your own risk, because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has patterned itself after every dictator who has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boot on the pages of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the superstates that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
Truthseekers, seeking the truth. A truth so bold it's hard to hold. Truthseekers, truthseekers, yeah. Place the cash, place the cash. Greetings and salutations, fellow truth seekers, and welcome back. This will be our first show of the new year. Happy 2024, everyone, and I hope all of you had an incredible New Year's and holiday season. I sure did, with my lovely wife and beautiful children. And I'm still recovering from the feasts of both Christmas and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I think I need a nap, but I'm here to bring you an update, of course, from the Wacky World of Wilcock. For those unaware, some 2 years ago, David Wilcock claimed that he was inventing hover cars with free energy engine, and that a prototype would be available within a year. That was 2 years ago. And what we've seen from Mr. Wilcock is a steady stream of what I believe are half-truths, complete and total outright fabrications, and more surrounding this company called Stavatti Aerospace. Now, the quick version of Stavatti Aerospace is that they've been in business for 29 years, since 1994, and they have yet to produce anything. That's right. Nothing. They've produced nothing in 29 years, apparently. But recently bought a huge facility in Niagara, New York. And there they promised the local municipality, who gave them all kinds of grants and incentives and tax breaks, that they would create some 600 jobs, all of which would be $100,000 or a year or more jobs. Guess how many jobs have been created so far? Zero. None. In fact, Stavatti Aerospace has no actual employees, admits one CEO, Chris Beskar. Now, there's an awful lot of bullshit behind the scenes. For example, David Wilcock is telling people behind a paywall that costs $333 that the CEO, Chris Beskar, was involved in creating, 3,000 spaceships that are being used to fight Draco reptilian aliens in a secret space program somewhere. Stavatti Aerospace has also been caught completely and totally lying about work that they've done or plan to do or enter into contracts to do for the United States government, prestigious military, prestigious laboratories, and more. Recently, they got caught claiming that they had wind tunnel contracts. A researcher named John Stavatti, please welcome him. He's here in the live chat, who's writing a book on Stavatti Aerospace and essentially what a shady scam it is. And let me just say this. If your company is so shady that somebody could research all of your various claims and write an entire book about how shady your company is, that could be a good indicator that your company is shady. How do you fill a whole book? Well, Stavatti Aerospace has a long history of making incredible claims and then never actually delivering anything. They once claimed that they were developing laser weapons for the United States military. That turned out to be false. Their claims of having government contracts for wind tunnels turns out to be completely and totally false, at least according to John Spadavatti's research and FOIA requests. There's no contracts. They're telling the local municipality in Niagara, New York, who, by the way, I have spent 2+ hours on the telephone trying to get a government official who gave David Wilcock's shady company all this money and tax breaks and incentives, trying to get one of them on the phone because I have some questions. Like, you know, that company that said they were going to create all those jobs? Do you know David Wilcock is on the board of directors there? They claim he's the director of exotic technologies or something like that. He's also telling people to take baths in their own urine in order to get superpowers. I want to know from the government officials that entered into this sweetheart deal with David Wilcock and company. Do they know that, like, they're telling people that Chris Beskar, the armor? Here's another great one. The armor from the Mandalorian television show, it's called Beskar Armor. David Wilcock and Chris Beskar both claim that George Lucas stole or named Beskar Armor for the Mandalorian after Chris Beskar. You can't make this stuff up. And I wanted to get some government officials on the phone and ask them these questions. Unfortunately, I spent at least 2 hours on the phone. 3 separate times, I called everybody on the Niagara County government list, or most of them. Nobody gets their phone there, which makes me want a government job. Imagine that I am calling like 16 different people and all 16 of them are voicemail. I did detail that and record it all, and it's going to be on Patreon and our members only page if you're interested. But so far, and John is in our live chat tonight, he's also calling all the Niagara officials saying, hey, do you know X, Y, and Z about David Wilcock and the things that this company has claimed? And remember, they claimed to the local government that they were going to create 600 jobs. They've created no jobs. And the deadline for them to create those jobs is quickly approaching. I believe the deadline is February for them to create 600 jobs. So all I have to say to David Wilcock is, tick-tock, motherfucker. You better get on the ball creating these jobs, because you promised the government when they entered into this deal with you that you would create 600 jobs, you and your company. 0 jobs created so far, which lead me to believe that they never had any intention of, if they did have intentions of creating jobs, don't you think in the past 2 years they would have created 1 or 2 jobs at least? So far, David Wilcock's shady aerospace company is completely striking out, 100% totally striking out on the promises they made the local government. But it gets even worse, because now the local government wants to give them an extension to create the jobs, which would basically mean more tax breaks, more incentives, right? More benefits for their promised economic enhancement of the local area. So far, the local area has seen 0 benefit, none, from David Wilcock's shady aerospace company. Now, remember, David Wilcock promised 2 years ago that they would have a working hover car prototype within a year. So he's a year behind on that promise, and they totally struck out as far as actually creating any real jobs. But this is nothing new. And, you know, I fully expected this to happen. But the fact that a government agency would, you know, give them a sweetheart deal and believe what they said based on both CEO Chris Beskar's dismal track record of actually doing anything, and on David Wilcock's track record of lying through his fake teeth for literally decades now to people for money. This is nothing new, you know. And the shadiness with David Wilcock goes back years. There's always some shady business dealings going on with David Wilcock, starting with Convergence Pictures LLC, in which he took money from investors to create films, never created any films. Then there was the PayPal donation scam with Emery Smith. Then there was the Pete Peterson GoFundMe scam. You know, those things raised like $100,000 or more between Pete Peterson and Emery Smith. And they were based completely and totally on lies. Then there was David Wilcock's shady charity. Did he shutter that, or is he still collecting charitable donations that he can spend on himself? And yes, I said David Wilcock collected charitable donations, and he essentially spent all the money on himself. In 1 year alone, he and his wife spent $4,000+ on meals and entertainment out of the money that people gave them for charity. So the shadiness is nothing new. But what you do get with David Wilcock is what you really get is an alternate reality in which David Wilcock is someone important. He's not. In which David Wilcock is a genius level IQ. He's not. And by the way, I challenge him. You know, we can get you an IQ test, David Wilcock. He once claimed that he had an IQ of 180, which would make him smarter than, I don't know, Einstein. Right? That's how I know that claim is bullshit. And then we get to more modern times in which he is right now, David Wilcock is right now telling people that if you give him money, he will give you sacred and secret divine knowledge from the Archangel Michael. The same archangel that he claims told him to take baths in his own piss in order to get telekinetic superpowers, which he claims was successful, though he's never demonstrated his telekinetic superpowers, just like he's never demonstrated his psychic abilities to be anything but a joke and, a scam, in my opinion. So we're going to get into all of this tonight. There has been some local coverage of Mr. Wilcock, and we're going to be getting into all of that. So let's take first, we will I have an article that was recently published to share. Let's get into that. 1 second. I have all of this available to share with you. You gotta love it. Okay, So this is behind a paywall, but hopefully we'll be able to get through it. Stavatti Aerospace seeks tax break extension despite little progress. And there's the CEO, Chris Beskar, who has been running this company for 29 years, has yet to produce a single airplane that he can show us flying anywhere, has made all kinds of outrageous claims about advanced technology and all these other things, but never proven any of his claims. Christopher Robin Beskar hasn't given up on his long-held dream of building military and commercial jets in Niagara County for sale to U.S. Space Force, or excuse me, to the U.S. Air Force. But he also hasn't made much progress towards achieving that dream. In fact, Beskar's venture, which has never produced a single aircraft, has run out of money and is looking for new investors. And it owes more than $500,000 to contractors who have worked on that project. So we talked about the reality of David Wilcock versus the fictionalized, delusion that he presents to the public. And in David Wilcock's fantasy, he's the director of advanced technology for a successful aerospace company. But the reality is they haven't produced a single aircraft in 29 years, and they're $500,000 in debt. One of the things that I found interesting about these articles, there was two of them, we're just sharing the latest one, is that they all got everything wrong. They got everything wrong. These articles are filled with factual inaccuracies, mostly due to the fact that they went to CEO Chris Beskar and asked questions, and he apparently or allegedly lied to everybody, like he's been doing for years. This article goes on to say, again, Chris Beskar's venture, which has never produced a single aircraft, has run out of money and is looking for new investors. And it still owes more than $500,000 to contractors who have worked on the project. So essentially, they spent $500,000 that they didn't have on, I don't know, products or services for people helping them with with his project, and then he never paid any of them. Well, I'm sure he paid some of the vendors, but he's being sued. There's foreclosures being. The vendors that are owed all this money are asking the local courts to to foreclose on their only asset, which is that airplane hangar he's standing behind in Niagara, New York. It has been nearly 3 years since Beskar's Stavatti Aerospace obtained a package of property and sales tax breaks in February 2021 to build out the vacant former Army Reserve hangar on Porter Road into this company's base of operations. From there, the Minnesota native proudly declared he would create next-generation planes to replace the F-16 Fighting Falcon or the F-18 Hornet, among others, for military clients such as the United States, Ukraine, and Serbia. And I just want to say, anybody can look up the F-16 Fighting Falcon or the F-A-18 Hornet. These are built by companies that have been in business for decades. That have a proven track record of developing advanced aircraft. This guy, Chris Beskar, has never created or shown the public, to my knowledge, a single airplane. Even here, I suppose he was asked and he had to admit they've never produced a single airplane. So we're supposed to believe that some guy with a dream that for 29 years hasn't produced anything is going to beat these companies that create the F-16 Fighting Falcon, F-18 Hornet. I don't think that's even within the realm of possibility when you haven't produced a single airplane. The initial $26 million project was supposed to turn the 10-building, 150,000 square foot complex into an aircraft research and design facility and the firm's temporary headquarters. And the company's operation was supposed to employ 368 people by now. Did I say 600 jobs? I've seen paperwork where they were talking about 600 jobs. But anyway, this article states they were supposed to employ 368 people by now. Maybe he divided. I'm not sure. Neither has happened. This is a quote, I guess, from, let's see, Stavatti intended to fully complete most work by the end of 2023, Beskar wrote in a November 9th letter to Susan Langdon, the executive director of the Niagara County Industrial Development Agency. But by the way, I just want to publicly put on record that Susan Langdon should quit her job, or she should be fired, or she should resign immediately for entering into this deal with a shady, scammy company that has been called, quote, an investment scam and Ponzi scheme in a recent court lawsuit against them. One of their investors sued them and said that they were a Ponzi scheme and an investment scam. Susan Langdon is the executive director of the Niagara County Industrial Development Agency. She's the one who made the decision to give this shady company all this money and tax breaks, yet she won't answer any questions. I called her 10 times. I have the call logs to prove it. Then I called and asked who her boss was, and nobody would tell me. Like, what is the local? Here's what's going on. The local authorities just realized, due to being notified of it, because they didn't know any of this stuff, by me and maybe John Spatavaccia and others researching this Stavatti Aerospace and Wilcock's claims. I think the local municipality just now figured out that they screwed up, and they did zero research into what kind of business people they were giving this deal to. And now they don't want to answer questions, right? The article goes on to state, but only a small portion of the significant renovations, selected demolition, and infrastructure design and construction has been accomplished, Beskar acknowledged. He blamed the lack of progress on delays and rising costs associated with the COVID-19 pandemic and the wars in Ukraine and now Gaza. And let me just tell you, maybe this is just my opinion, but it's a very strongly held belief and opinion. The war in Ukraine and Gaza have nothing to do with this man not being able to follow through on his promises. After all, he's been failing for 29 years straight, promising all these super advanced aircraft that can go Mach 5 and all this stuff. He's never produced an airplane. The article goes on to say, Beskar purchased the 19.8-acre site at 9400 Porter, adjacent to the Niagara Falls International Airport, for $1.2 million in cash. David Wilcock claims he paid for that. He bought the hangar. It'd be nice to see where that $1.2 million in cash came from. We have famously reported that I believe if David Wilcock gave that to them, then he got scammed, just like the other investor that is suing Stavatti claims he got scammed. He and his top local deputy, former NCIDA CEO John R. Simon, say they have spent several $1 million on infrastructure, including demolition of 3 of the buildings, rewiring some doors, and replacing some insulation. Over the past 3 years, Stavatti Aerospace and its 100% owned subsidiary, and here's another thing. Why do you need a subsidiary to your company that has never produced anything? Right? If you have one company that's never produced a single product or service for sale in the aerospace industry for 29 years, why do you need to create a subsidiary of your first company? It makes no sense unless this is a shell game. Stavatti Niagara have worked diligently to complete renovations required to fully occupy our site, Beskar wrote. But they've since run out of money. And remember, he's blaming the Ukraine war for why they haven't actually, manufactured anything. They don't have any prototypes. They have nothing to manufacture. But here we are in the wacky world of Wilcock. It's like the land of make-believe. They are working with an investment banking firm to bring in new private equity funding with a focus on a twin-engine transport aircraft. They also owe more than $519,519 to at least 6 different contractors. NCIDA officials have warned the company that it is at risk of having its tax breaks terminated or recaptured in February for noncompliance. In other words, The local municipality could want their money back, although it has used only about $2,000 in sales tax breaks to date. Instead, the company is asking for a 2-year extension on those incentives, which expire at year end. The agency is considering a 90-day extension for now, but board members expressed worriness. It doesn't seem to me like you're ready to close this out by February, IDA Chairman Mark Onesie told Simon at a meeting last week. I think it has potential for a wonderful project. If it works, it could be a boom for the county, a boom for the region, NCIDA Vice Chair Jason Krempa said. I just get nervous when we're almost 3 years in and we've seen limited progress to date. And by the way, that former NCIDA official who was helping Chris Beskar with this, he was apparently thrown out of that organization some time ago. And now he's helping Beskar get free money from the same organization that he was ousted from for possibly or allegedly illegal activity. Beskar, who says he was inspired by Star Wars and Star Trek as a child and designed his first airplane in 8th grade, has been working to bring his vision to life since he founded the company in 1994 while still in college. But he hasn't managed to fully break into the industry despite years of effort and a few patents to his name, including one he says was granted last month for its transport aircraft. His website is filled with intricate details, specifications, designs, and cost estimates for planes called the Machete, Stiletto, and Razor. And the company claims to have won contracts this year for 50 Machete and 60 Stiletto planes and $243 million in new defense products and systems. And we're going to see that's a lie. That is a lie. He lied to the reporter covering this story. And they're claiming that they have won contracts this year for 50 and 60. So he claims that he won contracts for 110 airplanes to be purchased. And that would amount to $243 million in new defense products and systems from U.S. allied governments. But he hasn't produced any planes or made any money. And Simon would not divulge any details on the contracts or say who they were with. In other words, they're a lie, like all of the other, all of the other lies that this company has been caught in. And isn't it just the perfect situation that David Wilcock hooks up with another guy who's basically a pathological liar, in my opinion, and that's who David Wilcock decided to start this hover car thing with. A guy who has been lying about, all these great things he's going to do for 29 years. And listen, I love a dreamer, right? But if you're gonna make these statements, then show us the contracts. There's ways that you can check. It's not United States government contracts, that's for sure. So it's up to Stavatti to prove that claim. For now, we're just going to call that a claim. Like all their other claims, most of them don't pan out. According to Beskar's letter, his plans for Stavatti remain the same as in his application to the NCIDA. And by the way, that's the Economic Development Association in Niagara, New York. He said the company is working with the U.S. State Department, the Air Force, and multiple close American allies to obtain sales and export licenses. By the way, you can't export these kind of products to anybody without licenses. They don't even have licenses to sell any products. Great. Plus foreign military financing for specific Stavatti projects. Beskar was not present for the NCIDA meeting because he was in Washington, D.C., meeting with Department of Defense officials and people at the highest level of government. Does this sound familiar? Right? David Wilcock's always claiming that he's meeting with generals and he's getting briefed by the alliance. This guy's claiming that he's meeting with Department of Defense officials. Great. Name them, Chris Beskar. Let me call them and make sure you were meeting with them. Or did he bail out of this meeting because he didn't want to answer questions about a shady company? Listen to this. The war in Ukraine impacted us dramatically, Simon told the IDA. When you combine the war in Ukraine, the pandemic, and now the Israeli war, it has slowed down Washington dramatically in the approval of things. So now they're blaming the Israeli war and the pandemic and Ukraine for why they haven't produced anything. No jobs, no prototypes, nothing. In turn, that has hampered the company's progress on Porter Road. The hangar's east doors have been rewired and renovated with new insulation, but the company got only halfway through the work on the west doors before running out of money, and its debts are mounting. According to liens filed with the Niagara County Court's office, these are the liens. $117,769 is owed to RP Oak Hill Building Company. And I just want to say, like, you know, what kind of a dirtball spends $117,000 in services from a building company and then just says, sorry, can't pay you, right? The people running these companies, this is small local businesses. And this is a lot of money for a small local business. So what kind of a dirtball gets $500,000 in work done to a property they own and then just says, sorry, ran out of funding, can't pay any of you people, right? $106,745 is owed to Davis Ulmer Sprinkler Company. $102,133 is owed to Ferguson Electrical Construction. $93,743 is owed to Mollenberg Betts. $53,200 is owed to United Thermal Systems. And $45,929 is owed to Empire Building Diagnostics. Besides paying those bills, it now has to obtain millions of dollars in new financing to finish the renovation, particularly upgrades to an electrical substation that dates back to 1929. Stavatti is working with National Grid and electrical contracts to repair and eventually replace that aging facility. But that will cost $1 million in the first year and another $500,000 in each of the next 2 years, Simon explains. So even just to literally to keep the lights on in that shithole building and group of, you know, nonsense that they bought for $1.2 million, they need $2 million just to keep the lights on in that building. Yeah, who wants to invest in this shithole of a company, right? Oh, you guys never produced an aircraft in 29 years, and you just need $2 million to keep the lights on so you can make some airplanes finally? Sure, here's $2 million. That's the heart of the facility, Simon said. Our infrastructure needs work. The age of the facility shows, and then it still needs additional capital to start producing prototypes before it can deliver any aircraft for contracts. We've spent millions so far, Simon said. We're in an industry where when you build aircraft, we're talking about billions of dollars. So millions of dollars hasn't enabled them to build not one aircraft. They need billions. That's what they're saying. Still, Simon said that Stavatti hopes to begin manufacturing its first prototypes in early 2024. Early 2024? What would early 2024 be? January, February, March, April, May, June, July? We'll give them until August, right? Listen, if you don't have an actual prototype that's already test flown and built, you are not beginning manufacturing on prototypes in early 2024. That is a complete and total fabrication and a lie, in my opinion. They don't have a prototype available in which to manufacture. And let's also remember one very important thing. David Wilcock Shady Aerospace Company's only income is from a garbage company that is renting the hangar to store garbage dumpsters in. So essentially what this means is there is no way on God's green earth that they can manufacture anything because their entire facility is filled with garbage dumpsters right now, which, by the way, is something that they were supposed to stop doing in order to, you know, make good on the promises of creating jobs and starting manufacturing products to sell. That's what they promised the local economy, that they would stop renting their facility to garbage dumpster companies to store dumpsters in. Literally, this company is, their entire big hangar building is filled with garbage dumpsters, and they get a few $1,000s a month. That's their only income. So how is David Wilcock's company promising local officials that they're going to begin manufacturing when the building, the last I checked, in with the company that's renting them, which was a few weeks ago, that building's filled with garbage dumpsters? How are they manufacturing anything in a hangar that's filled with garbage dumpsters? It's literally being used to store garbage dumpsters. So I believe that they are misleading and lying to the local community here. We have been approached to produce other things that are in the realm of defense, most of which would be made in Niagara. We look to the future and it looks promising, he said. He said the company received an extension from the New York Power Authority on its allocation of low-cost hydropower. It's also developing partnerships with both Niagara County Community College and Niagara Falls City School District for job training, including programs in technology, welding, and eventually airplane mechanics. By the way, I reached out to the Niagara County Community College and to Niagara Falls City School District. I don't believe that I think this is another fabrication. They say they are developing partnerships. Well, shouldn't somebody at those organizations be able to speak about those partnerships? Because I wasn't able to find anybody that could tell me about the deal you're making with Niagara County Community College and Niagara Falls City School District for job training. Shouldn't somebody there know about it? You wouldn't be just making this stuff up, would you? And by the way, for all I know, I didn't get to the right person, but it seems very suspicious to me that anybody could research it. Call the Niagara County Community College and ask them about Chris Beskar, Stavatti Aerospace, and a job training program that they're starting with Stavatti. If you get somebody, please email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. Love to talk to them. The article goes on to say, we're very excited about what we're doing, but it's all privately funded, said Simon, who is the president of Stavatti Niagara, the local subsidiary. Onesie of the NCIDA said the agency was open to working with them. I believe it's a real project. They're putting a lot of work into that building, but maybe they need a little bit more time. Because 29 years to actually make any money in a business or produce anything wasn't enough time. They just need more money. They really think they can do it, so we'll give them a chance. You don't just cut them off. Great. So, but interestingly, the people who are writing the local articles got a lot of facts wrong. I was happy to see the second one because at least they got the fact that they've never produced a single airplane in 29 years correct. You gotta love this David Wilcock land of make-believe. He literally told people 2 years ago that he cracked the secret of free energy and anti-gravity technology and that he would be producing a prototype within a year. That was 2 years ago. Meanwhile, the so-called company that he's going to accomplish this with has no other income other than renting their facility to a garbage dumpster company. And also, these statements that are made publicly are very damaging, I think, if they turn out to be, if these turn out to be tall tales, that means you're lying while you're collecting or trying to get public people to invest in your company. That could be very problematic. We already know they lied about developing laser weapons for the United States military. We already know that they lied, or at least appear to have lied, about having wind tunnel contracts. We know apparently they lied, or allegedly they've lied to the local government, telling them they're going to create all these jobs, and they haven't created a single job. This company is the perfect company for a scumbag like David Wilcock to promote and push, right? And what does David Wilcock get out of this? Well, he gets to say he's the director of advanced technology at an aerospace company. But boy, there's proof that David Wilcock is a joke, and he has no business calling himself the director Director of Advanced Technology or Exotic Technology, whatever the hell his fake title is over there. Boy, we're gonna share with you. I think this is quite possibly the best David Wilcock intro to a stream I've ever seen. He went out on a limb, and by the way, I can't wait to show you this. 2 years ago, David Wilcock made the video that we're going to be sharing with you tonight. And wait till you see how many of his incredible predictions from 2 years ago came true. But before we do that, we want to take a moment to thank you, kind and generous benefactors, Zizix. Thanks for two things: being a YouTube channel member and a kind and generous 99-cent super sticker. And we thank Collie Armstrong with a kind and generous £2 longtime show supporter. We thank you both for your kindness, generosity, and support, and for helping us to praise the cash, friends.
Praise the cash. 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 Praise the cash.
All right, we're praising the cash already, friends. Praising the cash into the New Year's. Money me now. Yes, money me now. Money, good. Need money. Lots of money. Yes. And we'll take a couple of comments or questions from the live chat before we jump into this video. I see John Stavatti is here. How did a 30-year fake aerospace company get this far? Yeah, that's a pretty good question, right? The Archaic Revival says, no offense, but seems like you would need money to begin with to launch this scam. And so until it pays out, somehow it will remain ongoing. Yeah. Chuck Bam says, David is the Teflon Don. He will make money somehow. Yeah, I'm just fascinated by this collision of worlds. Like David Wilcock lives in a delusional fantasy world where his company is going to make millions of dollars or billions of dollars creating all these advanced aircraft. Like, doesn't he stop to think, wait a minute, this guy's been failing at this for 29 years. Is a couple more $1 million collected in investor money really going to change that trajectory of complete and total failure that they've been on for 29 years? I really don't think so. I don't think so, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, David Wilcock has his grift money that started this. Well, he claimed that he invested more than $1 million at one point. So did David Wilcock really give this shady company $1.2 million to open this thing? If he did, then that's justice and that's karma. That means a man who made money scamming people got scammed himself, and that makes me smile. That makes me happy. Anthony Peterson, while I still want to believe, cue the X-Files theme, I'm glad you are critically examining all the evidence out there and exposing the grifters. Well, we thank you, Anthony Peterson, for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. Longtime show supporter, helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, 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 praise the cash. Subscribe and hit the like button. Smash it like it's hot.
Smash that like button like it's hot. And we want to thank and welcome new subscribers. Also, we want to take a moment to remind you that we are now broadcasting live on Instagram. So please give me a follow over there. It's at Renegade Magician on Instagram, or live streaming, I should say, on Instagram. I believe they still haven't fixed that issue where it cuts off after the first hour. So at least you Instagram friends get the first hour, then come on, jump over here to YouTube to watch the rest of the show. I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, yeah, this is an issue that I should address. Anna Louisa says, where's that gorgeous blonde who used to thanks praising the cash some months ago? That is Trixie. She was an out-of-work stripper, and we hired her here. She went back to work at the strip club, but besides that, I somehow ended up putting, I don't know how, but one of those bumpers of her thanking people has somehow got copyright music in it, and it gets flagged, and then I have to cut it out. And every time I think about it, I don't do it, but I have to go through and just dump all those bumpers and just upload the bumpers to YouTube, identify which one keeps flagging copyright and get rid of it, and use the rest of them. And we should have some new ones in the coming year. But we're going to get into this Brighteon video because this is the best intro for a David Wilcock video that I have ever seen. And that's not a real compliment. It's pretty cringeworthy. But we're going to get into, remember, this is a video from 2 years ago, but we're sharing this for a specific reason. Because one of the things, you know what, before we get to that, let's go over to my Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter, @Stephen Cambian. I post a lot of show-related materials over there. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest of Truthseekers, follow me on Twitter. It's just my name, @Stephen Cambian. So what we have with David Wilcock's aerospace company is fake promises to investors, fake wind tunnel contracts, fake promises to create jobs. I believe they have fake government contracts, fake free energy claims, fake anti-gravity claims, fake manufacturing claims, and fake prototype claims. These are all things that David Wilcock has said that they were going to do. And, publicly available information. They certainly promised investors to turn a profit, start manufacturing in their new facility. They haven't done that. Fake wind tunnel contracts. They claim they had wind tunnel contracts. They don't have any wind tunnel contracts that anybody's able to find. If they can provide proof to me, hey, email me. I'll apologize. truthseekershow@gmail.com. Fake promises to create jobs. They were supposed to create, what is it, 388 jobs by now for the local economy in Niagara? They haven't done that. Fake government contracts, right? They're claiming they have all these contracts with U.S. allied governments. Great. Can we see copies of those contracts? I don't believe they have government contracts. If they're willing to lie to investors, if they're willing to lie about fake wind tunnel contracts they don't have, I believe they're lying about that as well. And of course, David Wilcock 2 years ago or more than 2 years ago, claimed they would create a free energy-driven hover car that you wouldn't even need to put fuel into. So there's the fake free energy claims. Fake anti-gravity claims. They were going to create an anti-gravity hover car, right? What have they created so far? Nothing. Nothing but debt. And, basically, what bothers me about part of this story is that's $500,000 that they sucked from local vendors in the local economy in Niagara, New York. By the way, I'm going to call all of them and request an interview. I want to interview the people that are owed over $100,000 or $50,000. And then I want to tell them about David Wilcock's millionaire lifestyle and how he has 3 months worth of, bison ribeye steaks in the freezer. By the way, I have a couple of bison ribeye steaks in the freezer, thanks to you kind and generous benefactors. But I decided I can't eat a bison ribeye steak while I do a presentation here. So I'm going to eat that steak on the very next panel show. And I guess I'll be eating a bison ribeye steak and seeing how rich people like David Wilcock live while they're fucking while they're fucking their vendors out of money for services rendered. David Wilcock, you are a piece of shit. You're living in a multi-million-dollar mansion and you're letting this company just run up bills to over $500,000 and not pay people? Why don't you pay the vendors, David Wilcock? Then, of course, fake manufacturing claims. We saw in this article they're going to be manufacturing some of their prototypes by early 2024. A couple of months from now, we'll know that's a fake claim. The fake prototype claims, David Wilcock claimed 2 years ago that they would have a working hover car prototype within a year. That was 2+ years ago. Lots of shady stuff going on with this company. Now, remember, this is 2 years ago, and David Wilcock starts his stream 2 years ago saying that the United States military is moving towards full disclosure. Great. Did you miss the full disclosure that came from the United States government? Because I did. How did I miss that the United States government gave everybody full disclosure? I don't understand how I missed it. Did I just not watch the news? I missed the most important announcement in human history somehow in the past 2 years? Or, oh, no, wait a minute, that's right. Nothing that David Wilcock predicts ever happens. And this is just another in a long line of David Wilcock's fake predictions that don't happen. He is the world's worst psychic. We've said it here before. I'll say it again. David Wilcock is the world's worst psychic. Remember, he claims to be Earth's greatest prophet. This is 2 years ago. U.S. military moving towards full disclosure. I guess they're still moving. Maybe they're moving at a snail's pace. But in any case, this is one of the funniest intros to a David Wilcock stream I've ever seen. And I wanted to share it with you because it's wacky. Welcome to the Wacky World of Wilcock.
Hello, California! All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Woo!
I think he got that from one of his gay porn videos, but that's just my opinion.
Do we have a show for you today? Because the U.S. military, let's go over to this, is moving toward full disclosure, folks. We have clearly reached a moment of peak global crisis.
Okay, so 2 years ago, we reached a moment of peak global crisis.
The question that a lot of us are having right now is, are we all going to die? But if you're watching my talk, then you probably know that my question is something actually really good about to happen? And what if it's not just good, but actually unbelievably sci-fi fantastic? This, folks, is the whole point of Ascension.
2 years ago, he's making these claims. 2 years ago. By the way, I'm going to save us some time because there's about 50 more minutes. Well, there's 2 hours and 16 minutes of this stream. Maybe we'll do a part 2 just on this stream because this stream perfectly displays why David Wilcock should never be trusted as any kind of an information source, because everything he says in this stream is a complete and total joke and wrong. But there are some interesting tidbits at about the 50-minute mark. So we're going to be skipping ahead. We're going to listen to a little bit of this just so you get the point that he's always wrong about everything he says. Because this is a stream. This is a video he made 2 years ago. And guess what? None of this shit happened. None of it. None of it. None of it happened.
And we do have positive angelic human extraterrestrials who are now very involved in saving our planet.
Wow, they've been saving our planet for 2 years and nobody's heard about it. Great.
So I want to thank you for coming out today. This is an amazing opportunity. Thank you again, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm really, really happy to be here virtually this way. We have had some very serious assault threats.
2 years ago, somebody was threatening to assault him, so he can't do live appearances, according to him in this stream.
And due to the nature of the work that I'm doing and the level of secrecy that it has, my allies considered it an unacceptable risk for me to appear live at an event right now. So,
yeah, who are his allies? The guy running the shady, scammy company that owes $500,000 to people? Who are his allies? They're saying, oh, David Wilcock, your work is too important. You can't make public appearances right now. Like the ego on this guy, right? He's got allies that advised him that he can't make public appearances, just too dangerous. And we've seen this as a common trope or talking point with him. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. This guy is always making claims that he's so important that he's under constant attack, right? What attacks are you under, right? Yeah, I don't believe he's under any attack other than the attack of, like, I don't know, a crack pipe. That's just my opinion, though. Not just, I'm allowed to have an opinion.
Well, this is the best that you're going to get. But the good part is I got this. I got, camera angles, and I can go, hey, what's going on, buddy? And then, hey, that's the slides again. See, I don't even know where it's going because I have to learn the buttons, and I have to lecture, and I have to produce the material. But this is all part.
Yeah, wouldn't a good thing to do to like know what buttons work what before you make a video? I mean, You're supposed to have a 180 IQ and you can't work a multicam setup. I don't know.
Part of what makes it so fun to be here. I have an incredible number of slides. I have basically 500 slides that I got to get through in 2 hours. Yeah, tell me about it.
David Wilcock somehow equates value to slides, even though virtually everything that he puts in his slides is misinformation, disinformation, false information, fake information, unproven stories, and literal bullshit. Somehow, putting bullshit in slide format adds value, according to David Wilcock. And since he made all these slides, this is valuable information. No, his information is dog shit garbage. That's what his information is.
So this is very exciting because we have been authorized now. And when I say we, I mean folks like the members of my aerospace company, some of whom have been involved in classified projects.
That's a problem for him. He's going to have to prove that members of Stavatti Aerospace have been involved in classified projects. And if he can't prove that, then he is promoting a false information about the company that is soliciting investor money. If you're soliciting investor money from the public, you can't lie. So David Wilcock, you have proof that members of Stavatti Aerospace have been involved in classified government projects, right? Right? And by the way, he goes further behind the paywall. So this is going to be a real problem for David Wilcock, especially when, I don't know, a reporter like me or a reporter like John Stavatti starts calling the SEC with these clips of all the shit that they've been saying while they're soliciting public investor money for their shady, scammy aerospace company. Also, listen to this. He's saying that he has access to classified information and he's been authorized to release it. Great, David Wilcock. Great. You're going to be able to prove that you have access to classified information, right? And then somehow you're going to have to weasel out of what you're saying right here 2 years ago. Because if you were in possession of classified information and you were just making videos, putting it on, YouTube or Brighteon or wherever on the internet, that would be a violation of the Espionage Act and could land you in prison, you dummy, right? But the bluff is always that David Wilcock has access to some sort of secret information that he'll share for $333 or whatever price he decides is fair for his garbage fake information. Who authorized him to release classified information? Can't wait to hear this.
We are now being authorized to disclose far, far more than I ever dared to dream we would have been allowed to do. It's very, very exciting.
This is 2 years ago. Did you miss the release of all this important classified information from David Wilcock 2 years ago? Because I sure did.
The disclosure is not going to take 10 years. The disclosure is not going to come in little dribs and drabs. We are now expecting a big blast. And I can honestly say, let's go over here for a second, that some of the people I've been speaking to, they never, ever expected that they would be able to talk in a million years.
More anonymous sources he can't name that are feeding him classified information. Sure. Everybody's risking their jobs, their pension, and jail time to leak classified information to ancient alien star David Wilcock. Sure, that sounds plausible.
They never expected that they would be able to come forward and to share the knowledge that's going on today. So from the Stavatti side of things, which is my aerospace company, again, we're working on hover cars. We're working on power plants. I'm going to show you the 750 volt power plant that powers conventional electrical outlet power off of 4 AA batteries.
Yeah, and this is where it gets great, because basically David Wilcock took one of the thousands or perhaps tens of thousands of fake free energy videos on YouTube and claims it's real. But I have a background in electronics and computer technology. I've been building circuit boards my entire life. In fact, when I was a youngster, I built a whole lot of those fake free energy devices. And the one that he shows is so laughably fake, and we're going to show you why, He's literally telling people that Stavatti Aerospace is going to build free energy based on this fake YouTube video. Like, come on, dude. That's the best you could do as a bluff, show a fake free energy video from YouTube and claim that it's real technology. And by the way, remember, he's the director of advanced technology or exotic technology for Stavatti Aerospace, and he doesn't know how basic electricity works. And we're going to prove that tonight. I could not believe that this guy did this. Wait till you see this, but we'll see what else he has to say before we get to the free energy scam that he's sharing as real.
I'm going to show you the main enemy that we're facing in the world today, which is actually the Draco reptilians, believe it or not. This is one of the things that I've been talking about over the years.
Yeah, and by the way, Susan Langdon, did you know that David Wilcock is on the board of Stavatti Aerospace, and he's telling everybody that the big bad guys are Draco reptilian aliens, and him and his company are going to help battle the Draco reptilian aliens in space?
In case you don't already know this, ever since, I don't know, the early 2000s, I've been talking with multiple insiders who have had access to what we call cosmic top secret clearance.
There's no such thing as cosmic top secret clearance. He made that up. And his government insiders are people like Corey Goode, who admitted under oath after bilking the UFO and secret space communities for 8 years for money for his fake stories. He admitted he made up the stories. He admitted he'd never been to space. Who were his other insiders? Oh, I don't know, a court-martialed child molester in the form of Bill Brockrader. One of his other insiders is the fake Pete Peterson, who claimed he worked for Ronald Reagan, claimed he worked for the Russian equivalent of NASA, claimed he was an early pioneer in computer technology. All of those whistleblowers are fake, right? They're all fake. All of his so-called whistleblowers, his insiders, they're all frauds or criminals. It's great.
And at this level, you are 35 levels above the need to know of the president of the United States.
Yeah, people who are 35 levels above the president are sharing information with David Wilcock. Sure.
So Eisenhower actually did arrange for a meeting at Area 51. He threatened a military invasion. They allowed him.
Now he's citing the anonymous interview, which was a fraud fake that never worked for the CIA, never stepped foot on Area 51, who claimed he did. We busted that fake story ages ago. But here is David Wilcock citing a completely and totally fake insider, just like his fake insiders, as a source.
To look at what they had. And he's the president of the United States, and this is in America. And as you all know, there was a Project Paperclip transfer of German scientists
Well, you got to throw in one real fact to go with the BS story.
After World War II to the United States, and that has a lot to do with where we are now. So the positive angelic ETs, I want to talk about this because I really have very little time in 2 hours, and I want to get it all in. They are very, very involved in saving our planet. So this, for me, is one of the most exciting things.
He doesn't even know where the goddamn cameras are or where to look.
Happened in this new disclosure process is I'm learning that we actually do have.
Guy's got a 180 IQ. He can't work a camera angle.
Really great friends out there. You're going to find out that this is correlated with the Valiant Thor visitations. This is
Valiant Thor was a bullshit story from a minister who once confided in somebody. He wasn't making enough money doing the Jesus thing, so he got into the aliens. And that's a completely and totally, in my opinion, it's a bogus story. It's just a story. There's no evidence for it whatsoever. Frank Stranges sold a book for ages claiming that some alien from Venus, by the way, I think, or was it Saturn, visited the Pentagon in the 50s. He was from the early contactee movement. That story has never been proven to be true since 1950s. But here is David Wilcock's going to pick up that fake story and run with it.
It's allegedly a human-looking UFO occupant where his saucer-shaped craft landed in 1957, fairly near to Washington, D.C. He notified human allies he had here on Earth in advance. He was picked up. He was brought to the Pentagon, and he lived in Alexandria, Virginia, I believe, under close government supervision for 3 years. answering questions from many different scientists. And he could not be killed. His body was ultimately indestructible. I mean, you could kill his physical body, but then he would just make another one. I don't think
he'd just make a new body. Yeah.
They would have ever dared to try that. Do you? That would have been so impolite. They would never think of anything like that, of killing the guy, right? Never. Well, you never know. Anyway, the point is, this disclosure was new to me. I found out that the people like him apparently occupy the interior of Venus, and they exist as energy beings, but they can project into a human-looking body.
And that was the explanation that came after the scientific knowledge that nobody can live on Venus. They made up an excuse. Well, they live beneath the surface. They're energy beings, and they can project into a human-like body. Sure. And that's also literally the plot of The Day the Earth Stood Still, David Wilcock. But hey, don't let things like science fiction and an already existing story get in the way of a good UFO and alien story that you could sell for cash to stupid people.
Perhaps other types of bodies as well. It may actually be a connecting thread to the Corey Goode Blue Avian narrative. It may very well be that they have all...
He just connected one fake story to another of his famous fake stories, the Corey Goode fake story. Well, listen, this is right before, he made this video right before Corey Goode did those depositions, right? Or a little bit of time before Corey Goode did those depositions. And now David Wilcock will never mention Corey Goode or all the Blue Avian bullshit stories ever, because he knows he got caught selling completely and totally fake stories from Corey Goode for what was it, 8 years now, right?
Also been projecting themselves into human body form at the same time, because that's the data, that's the intel that we're getting. Now, here's a very critical point about these benevolent beings. They are very involved in saving our planet, but they can't come in and
they can only assist us. Yes.
Ride on a big cloud of glory and you know, show up in a fleet and say, here we are, everybody. And you guys were all stupid. You didn't know what was going on. And now we're going to rescue you. It doesn't really work that way. As the slide says, once again, we ultimately have to be the ones who are going to save ourselves, and they can only assist us in that process.
Well, if the aliens are going to help us, then why do we have to? This is 2 years ago, and he's saying that aliens are going to help us, but we have to save ourselves. They can only assist. But now he's saying that you need to give him $333 to get access to sacred information from the Archangel Michael. Well, come on, dude. 2 years ago, you were saying that the angelic ETs are going to save us, but they're just going to assist us. And I guess David Wilcock is assisting those benevolent ETs, including the Archangel Michael, in bilking stupid people out of $333. Because, listen, that's exactly what advanced extraterrestrial ET aliens would do. Give sacred knowledge to somebody like David Wilcock and then have him sell that sacred or secret knowledge to other humans for $333. Is David Wilcock giving the Archangel Michael a cut of that money? This makes no sense. Why would an angel give David Wilcock secret or sacred information and then be okay with him selling it to the other members of humanity, right? It's nonsensical.
So when the question is, how are we saving ourselves? The answer is something I've been tracking for many, many years. When I started to read UFO books, I became aware that there was a division within the secret government community. And some of those people were in support of disclosure and revealing what we have acquired.
And by the way, he's stealing this talking point from, I believe he's stealing it from Dark Journalist, who coined the phrase X-Protect and X-Share. And the whole idea that there were two competing factions within the United States government. One faction wanted to share the information with everyone, and one wanted to keep it secret. This is nothing original. David Wilcock just blatantly plagiarizes from other content creators, in my opinion.
There have been many UFO crashes here. That's been formally acknowledged by the Pentagon. They sort of acknowledge it a little bit, and then they don't, but we're going to see today some very stunning new stuff that
The Pentagon has never acknowledged that there were alien spacecraft crashes, you dumbass. Why would you lie? That's just a complete total lie. Show me the Pentagon acknowledging alien spacecraft that have crashed. Unless we're going to get technical, did the Pentagon acknowledge that UFOs have crashed? Maybe, but that doesn't mean it's alien technology. But hey, let's play fast and loose with the facts, because the people watching David Wilcock are so dumb, they will literally believe anything.
They've come out with. But if there are these benevolent human angelic ETs here, such as Valiant Thor, this has now become a major part of the narrative. It's actually connected many, many dots for me, because there were human ETs showing up for private individuals in the 1950s. There were human ETs showing up in the 1950s and 60s as well in Italy, in what's known as the friendship case. And the Valiant Thor information links all of this together. Valiant Thor.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. This is the stupidest talking point I've ever heard. So basically, what he's saying is all those 1950s contactees, most of which were provable, laughable frauds, like Frank Strange's with the Valiant Thor story, or, you know, some of the other early contactees, Howard Menger. You know, these people were profiteers. They were early versions of David Wilcock. They were UFO and alien grifters before our modern era. None of them ever proved their stories were true. Not one. Full stop. But David Wilcock is now co-signing that all of them were telling the truth. Okay, if you say so, David Wilcock. I guess he just has an affinity for other scammer grifters that tell fake stories for cash to stupid people.
He spoke very glowingly of Christ and Jesus, and yet he's not human. So it's but he looks human, and yet we're going to see as we go on there were very strong physiological differences with Thor. So the Alliance is
the Alliance, an artificial construct that this idiot got from the Q garbage. Remember, he was a big Q supporter, and all the Alliance crap turned out to be fake. But here he is 2 years ago, still pushing it.
Essentially something that formed out of Majestic, which was the group that was formed to handle the UFO subject. Part of why it's a
and the whole idea of Majestic came from the MJ-12 documents, a group of documents that has largely been proven to be fake. You know, so how many fake sources has he cited so far? We're only 10 minutes in. He's citing Frank Strange's, a UFO wackadoo who told stories for cash back in the late 50s, early 60s, sold books and shit and never proved anything. The friendship case in Italy, another early 50s or late 50s, early 60s case that's never been proven to be true.
The MAJ. Is Her Majesty, so I've heard that it's Majestic 12 or Majesty 12 because the Queen of England or the King, whoever it is, but it's been the Queen this whole time. The Queen is involved, and it's
the Queen is involved in aliens. This is before she died. Rest in peace, Queen Mother.
More the people around her. She's more like a figurehead, but you have to understand that it's not all bad. When we're talking about the government, when we're talking about secret classified programs,
oh, it's not all bad.
Don't look at it as if this is some person who you shouldn't trust and that they're evil and they're deceptive. That is there. Okay, I won't lie to you because we've obviously seen a lot of that. But there are so many people in the United States military and in other militaries around the world who want to do the right thing. They want to do good. They want to be honored. They want to be revered. They want to be the heroes that they signed up to be.
Well, where are they all at then? Because none of them ever provide any evidence. They all tell bullshit stories, some of them, you know, former high-ranking government officials, but nobody ever provides any evidence.
When they did their oath of enlistment. Thank you. So think about this, folks. The heroes are here now. There are heroes on Earth, and they have been doing a vast covert operation to save this planet, and I say that with the utmost confidence. We are being protected and guided not only by these human ETs, but also by people here on Earth who inherited the plan. And if Valiant Thor was there in the Pentagon for 3 years, I expect very strongly that Valiant Thor had a lot to do with the plan as we're calling it, this document that's apparently
So some fake alien had a lot to do with this plan.
5 inches thick
Sure.
in a 3-ring binder that was created originally, financed by Howard Hughes, who didn't know why he was losing all these aerospace contracts from all different ways. And it was because a decision had been made that he had become too powerful and that we as in the United States military at that point could not allow him to become any more powerful.
Where's he getting this from? This is just a work of fiction.
Powerful than any nation on Earth. He had a vast amount of extraterrestrial technology, which his teams were reverse engineering. So he actually had better weapons than anyone else on Earth. And
welcome to Fantasyland. Howard Hughes had access to alien technology. What's his source for this? He has no source for this.
Irony, as I said in my recent interview with Mike Adams on Brighteon.com, which you can look up just typing in my name on the search bar. I would highly recommend you do that. They actually had to clone Howard Hughes. They actually had to make multiple Howards because he created these doors that simply will not open without his handprint and retinal scan. And so the best way to solve that, instead of trying to rebuild everything, is just to clone Howard Hughes.
There, you heard it here first. Howard Hughes had many clones, according to David Wilcock.
So it's ironic, isn't it, that one of the wealthiest tycoons of the 20th century now has a kind of a weird Captain Ahab imprisonment within his own belly of his own whale. I find it very, very ironic. Anyway, we have Howard Hughes to thank for financing this. We have Kennedy for trying to move forward with it. It's very sad that he got assassinated.
This is the land of wacky Wilcock make-believe. Where is his sources for any of this so-called real and accurate and truthful information that he's sharing with people? There are none.
There was a lot of stuff.
It comes from the land of make-believe.
Going on. Again, go watch the Mike Adams video. But the point today is that the alliance is far bigger, far more interesting, far more exciting than we could ever imagine.
The alliance doesn't exist. It was a construct of Q. That's where he got that bullshit from.
The world will indeed be utterly shocked and transformed.
Remember, this is 2 years ago. 2 years ago, he said the world will be utterly shocked and transformed. Did you miss the shock and awe? Did you miss the world transforming revelations that David Wilcock said were going to happen 2 years ago? Just more proof that he is always, telling tall tales. Garaji is here. Thanks for being a member, who says, or maybe Hughes was losing contracts because he disappeared from the public and he was eating Hershey bars and drinking milk while wearing Kleenex boxes on his feet. Yeah, Howard Hughes is a sad story because he was literally a genius and he went crazy and he was like pissing in bottles and not going outside and it's a sad story, his end. It's a very sad story. And the fact that Wilcock is willing to use that man's human tragedy to sell fake alien bullshit says everything you need to know about David Wilcock.
By the information that we are going to learn. I mean, when you start to wrap your hands around what's going on here, you've already seen evidence that's in very, very, I got water on my face. I'm trying to drink water and lecture at the same time. Sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know if you could see that or not.
Yeah, the man with 180 IQ can't properly drink water while running a live stream.
Probably on the high def version you could, but anyway, when you see the scope of what these guys have been working on, because there's tribunals coming, folks. So I know that
tribunals again, mass arrests again. He's been pushing this false narrative of mass arrests and tribunals since 1998, at least.
It looks scary. I know that it's terrifying about supply chain collapse and attacks on food processing plants, which very clearly appears to be the powers that were shooting for this goal of the dreaded 47 days. If you can starve a human being for 47 days, according to my insiders, they will die. It's a lot faster if you can cut them off from water, but most people will have some sort of water source.
Yeah, that's great. So David Wilcock is telling everybody that the government is going to destroy the supply chain, or some evil cabal is going to destroy the supply chain and starve us all. Coming soon. This is 2 years ago. I don't know about you, but I haven't starved to death yet. Have you?
But if they go with water and no food, it's very consistently 47 days.
Well, good to know.
Then when you look at the fact that there's so many parallels of what's going on now with previous communist regimes, including the fact that the propaganda is free. You can read as many books as you want of the Communist Manifesto. You're never more than 100 feet away from a Communist Manifesto, but good luck trying to find any independent books at all, because they all get thrown into piles and burned. And the equivalent now is online censorship.
Who's burning piles of books on, I don't know.
So that's why I'm doing this live, so that nobody can get in the way of you getting this information.
Oh, yeah, because this information is so important. This bullshit, like, who's going to ban bullshit? Bullshit is not illegal.
Thank you. Thank you. Once we get this truth, once we get through these tribunals, which are going to be amazing, I'm going to talk about a little bit about that. It will apparently change the physics of reality itself. In other words,
2 years ago, he said that this world-changing event is going to change physics.
What do I mean by that? What I'm saying is that the intel we're getting from these insiders includes the fact that reality is not what we think. Reality actually has some very fascinating consciousness integration. And we as human beings, I'm going to say something pretty surprising. We as human beings naturally have far greater telekinesis than we would dare to dream of.
Yeah, we've all got superpowers. And all you have to do is take baths in your own piss to get the telekinetic superpowers. This is something that he would later say, but this is earlier than that, I believe.
Much more than we need to lift our own body. And there is a deliberate limitation that is being put upon us to withhold those abilities. And it primarily
they're trying to stop us all from having superpowers.
Comes through the attacking of the pineal gland. If you can decalcify your pineal gland, you will get telekinesis far more. I am going to be doing an upcoming course, an online course called Ascension Philosophy.
And that's $333. So here he's promising people that if you give him $333, you'll get telekinetic superpowers. Did anybody give him $333 to get superpowers? If so, email me. I'd love to see your superpowers.
And I'm very excited about that, where I'm going to be getting into the detail of all these crazy things that I've been learning from Archangel Michael. So let's talk about Archangel Michael. Oh my God, he's going all over the place, right? Well, I began receiving prophetic words by using military remote viewing protocols in January 19.
So he's got multiple superpowers. He's got telekinesis and he's got remote viewing superpowers.
96 is when I first learned about this. So I was listening to Art Bell, which was the predominant, the predominant show, as you know, the predominant show in the world for UFOs throughout the late 1990s was Art Bell. I mean, he had 20 million listeners. It was huge. And one of the things he was the most excited about was remote viewing, because he had guys like Major Ed Dames on there saying that remote viewing was gathering data of surprising efficiency. And
there's no proof that remote viewing actually does anything. No proof, none. There's been more money spent on remote viewing than virtually anything else, which I think is really kind of funny. And we're going to skip ahead because this is where it gets pretty good. I have to skip back to about 50 here. So pardon me, because the Brighteon player is crap for people that are visually impaired. There he talks about the Salvador Payas patents that they have no right to, and somehow, operable technologies. No, I don't think so, but
check this out.
We'll go from here.
Dr. James.
And remember, he's been saying that they're going to use patents that they don't own to create hover cars. And in another video, Chris Beskar claimed that they were going to license the technology. So my question is, where is the license at? It's been years you guys have been claiming this stuff. Where's the licensing at?
He asserted that these inventions are not only enabled but operable, and there's serious laws that you would be breaking. So he reaches out to this patent attorney named Peter Mlynick, And by using the words operable or operability, this is not something you can normally do in a patent application. It's actually illegal. You cannot say that the patent is operable unless you have proven that it's operable. So why would the government...
And by the way, there is still no proof that those patents actually work. And Mr. Paez has basically essentially said that he left like the secret sauce out of those patents so nobody would be able to rip him off or steal his technology. In other words, they don't work. Not as described in the patents. They won't work. Not as described in the patents. And we can cite Salvador Paez interviews with Theories of Everything in Jungle to say that what David Wilcock is saying here is completely and totally inaccurate.
Government break the law. Well, oh my God. I just realized how dumb that sounds. Okay, getting back to the show. Well, in this case, I don't think with all these laws and patent, I got to walk out of that one real nice and slow. Let's just kind of walk back out of that one quite a bit more than I might have wanted to be walked out of. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, knock on
anyway,
guitars,
we're back. We're here. It's live. It's all real.
It's all right. He doesn't need those guitars because he plays like shit.
It's all true stuff, folks. That the patents actually work.
They've not been proven to work. It's been 2 years since he made this video. Guess how much proof there is that those patents work? None. David Wilcock believes anything that his belief system wants him to.
This is an operable technology. Okay. Then Salvatore Paez, the same amazing genius who seems to know everything, finds this free energy device. And again, you're seeing the needles where they roll off the current and they're spinning around. And as these little balls of charge clusters are...
I just want to take a moment to say that no one has ever proven that free energy exists. And free energy is rife with scammers, con artists, and more.
EVOs are formed. You get your cold plasma, and now you're tapping it into energy in this case. Now, this is pretty freaking phenomenal, and I had a real hard time believing them when this first came out because they said that something the size of a basketball can generate a terawatt of energy. This so-called reactor, has nothing to do with nuclear, okay, but they might call it a reactor or a power plant. That's the most common word. But
remember, David Wilcock is the director of advanced technologies for Stavatti, and he's citing patents here that nobody has proven actually work, right? And then he's talking about free energy, another thing that nobody has ever proven worked. But he's supposed to be a guy with a 180 IQ that's directing advanced technology for the shady aerospace company. They can't even build a goddamn airplane, but we're supposed to believe that they're going to come up with a revolutionary free energy power source. And wait till you see what he shows here.
This power plant generates a terawatt. Now, why is that? If you don't really understand energy, check this out. So let's go back to the slide here.
Gotta have the slides.
The Palo Verde nuclear power plant only generates 4 gigawatts, and there's 1,000 gigawatts in a terawatt, folks. So this is Palo Verde. It's freaking huge. You got these disgusting 9 huge reactor cores there with all the smoke coming out of them.
And I think this is great because here he shits all over nuclear energy as being primitive and a joke, but he's going to develop free energy that's going to be so much better than nuclear energy. He can't power a goddamn children's remote control car, right? But he's going to shit all over nuclear power plants that are, supplying whole cities with limitless clean. That's arguable. There's certainly waste involved with nuclear power plants, but it's manageable. So he's going to shit all over nuclear energy because he's got a better idea. You just need 4 AA batteries and some wires and a magnet, and you can power anything you want. Sure.
And those are the reactor cores up close, looking at it from the ground down. And then you'll notice that below those reactor cores is the 3 buildings. So they got each of the 3 buildings. Let's go back to the previous slide again so you can see this. So where you see the groups of 3, there's a little dome in front of them. And each one of them has the same setup. Now, those Those chimneys are just for actually releasing heat, because this thing creates so much heat that they're using for power. But then inside those domes, that's...
I love he's going to explain nuclear energy too. The guy never took a physics class in his life, to my knowledge, but he's
where the actual nuclear material is. Okay.
He's going to explain it to us.
So they've got radioactive rods inside these domes, and they're dropping them down into this bath of liquid, and they're creating this steam, which they use to power electricity. It's a steam engine made with nuclear radiation.
That is the worst description of how a nuclear power plant works that I've ever heard, especially from somebody who claims they have a 180 IQ. But he's got a better invention, though. Don't worry, because why should you worry about nuclear power, right? That can power whole cities when you just need 4 AA batteries. It's coming. It's
not that great, folks. It's a crappy, ridiculous technology. You're taking cigarette-like rods and dropping them down into this stuff.
Cigarette-like rods. Does he have any idea the size of rods that they use? Apparently not. Real smart, Mr. Wilcock.
Creating radioactivity, but you get heat in the form of energy. So this massive, huge, horrifying facility, okay, all of that stuff that I was showing you only generates 4 gigawatts, and you have something the size of a basketball that does a terawatt.
Yeah, but here's the difference. The nuclear power plant is demonstratable. You can measure the power coming out of a nuclear power plant. Some asshole filing a patent who claims that he can generate a terawatt with something the size of a basketball, but has never proven it, is not equivalent. To David Wilcock, you could just claim, like, okay, David Wilcock, I've got a power plant the size of a volleyball or 2 volleyballs, and I can generate 100 terawatts. So mine is better than a nuclear power plant, even though I can't prove mine generates shit, right? It's so stupid.
One of the things that I'm being told is that we actually have we will have a vast overabundance of energy available to us compared to anything that we are doing now.
And this is the stupidest, most nonsensical statement that I've ever heard in my life. He's talking about an unproven patent that no one can show us the prototype to, right? No one can show us a working prototype. But hey, we've got an overabundance of energy. No, we don't. You know, listen, they're going to be building coal-fired power plants, a whole lot more of them. Do you know why? Because at least in the United States, the power grid is in severe disarray. It's severely underpowered. People are all trying to charge Teslas at their house right now. We need energy more than ever before right now. But here's David Wilcock. Oh, don't worry. There's free energy devices.
We're going to have a lot more. So, however, the high energy systems, when you have terawatts of power, that's what you need to be able to produce anti-gravity. So,
did you see that? Now, that's going to be a problem for Wilcock. High energy systems that can generate a terawatt are necessary to produce anti-gravity. He just said that you need terawatt level energy systems to produce anti-gravity. So remember, he said that he was building an anti-gravity hover car. So here's David Wilcock essentially admitting that in order to create a hover car, he needs something that can generate a terawatt or more of energy. He needs basically 10 nuclear power plants equivalent, right? Or more. I don't know. I didn't do the math, but a terawatt is an inordinate, it's just ridiculous amount of power, more than a whole bunch of full steam power plants, coal fire power plants, nuclear power plants, all put together. So David Wilcock is essentially admitting that he can't create anti-gravity hover cars without a terawatt generating power supply. So where's your terawatt generating power supply, David Wilcock? He doesn't even realize that he informs people that his hover car claims are bullshit. Because according to him, you need a terawatt of energy to produce anti-gravity. So how are you producing anti-gravity? They don't even have enough power to keep the lights on in their Stavatti Shady Aerospace company. but he's going to produce anti-gravity hover cars.
Have terawatts of power. That's what you need to be able to produce anti-gravity. So when we start building hover cars, your hover car's power plant is going to be so amazing that it could power your entire house and barely even touch the slightest load compared to what it can do. I mean, this is going to be so amazing because imagine now.
Yeah, so amazing. These are promises he's made 2 years ago. And by the way, he doesn't even know how to do basic like math. He knows nothing about electricity. No, he basically just said you need a terawatt to produce anti-gravity, and the free energy engine in my hover cars is going to produce that much energy, more than a nuclear power plant. And then he says you can power your house from it. No, you can power hundreds of thousands of houses by your stupidity here. None of this makes any sense.
That you have a hover car that's like an RV, and you can fly anywhere on Earth or elsewhere eventually. It's not going to be interstellar right away, but
we're working on making the hover cars interstellar too.
Working on warp drive too, actually.
Oh, he's working on warp drive technology in addition to his bullshit free energy promises, in addition to his bullshit anti-gravity promises.
But in the beginning, you're going to be able to go where you want to go. At least probably certain regions will be flagged off. But I imagine that certain uninhabited areas, probably a lot of Canada, for example, will be opened up for summer tourism because during the summer months rather, you can go there and it's going to be amazing. And there's nobody around, and you could build
a house in Canada with your hover car.
A house, and you could have it all to yourself and have this beautiful view, just like what I got. That's why I keep filming scenes from my land. I want you to understand that you will be able to have places like this if you have a hover car, and you can have a summer home.
Oh,
ordinary
boy.
People.
If we have a hover car, we'll be able to have a summer home.
We'll be able to have a winter home and a summer home. You can build it somewhere else. You can go there in the summer in your hover car. You got all the energy you need. If we get materializers right away or soon, then you could also print your own food, or
he's going to print your own food right in your hover car. Maybe he'd been watching Star Trek too much. That's called a replicator. He's calling it a materializer. If
we're in a hover car drone type of society where you can order things, then the drone will come and drop off your food for you that way. Or you could be cultivating food where you are. You could go very traditional. You could literally grow crops and have a fireplace and, chop wood and go completely off the grid. But you don't really need to, again, because you got the power plant in your vehicle. So
here's the ridiculousness of this. Not only is he promising people anti-gravity, but he's promising people an anti-gravity hover car that also includes a free energy power source that can power your entire home. After a while, you just go, this guy is so full of shit, he waddles when he walks. Isn't it enough to promise people anti-gravity? No, let's stack free energy on top of it. 2 impossible science fiction dreams. Then we'll tell everybody you won't need power. You can live anywhere you want because you'll have this free energy, and it'll enable you to do anything you want because all the energy is free. That old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That applies here.
That's a level of freedom that these bankers have never wanted you to have. They want to keep you behind the national.
And typical conspiracy land tactics, the bankers are the bad guys. Listen, banks have their purpose. I'm not a big fan of getting a loan, but it's nice to have a bank when you need one. They're not evil people. They're business people. They give you money when you need it. You pay them the money back and a little bit extra. I don't understand the problem that people have with bankers. I do not like banks that, like that subprime mortgage. That was some shady garbage, and there's always going to be people that take advantage of the system. But by and large, I don't have a problem with banks. But, in conspiracy land, it's the bankers that run the world. So they're the bad guys, right? You always got to have a bad guy in your story.
They want to keep you with a license and an ID number and tax payments, and you're not going to need money. Okay, you're not going to need money because energy, heating and cooling your house alone costs about 80% of all of your bills.
I don't know where he gets his finances from. I have to ask my missus, because she's an accountant, like what percentage of our household income or expenses is energy. I don't think it's 80%, but okay.
So
he's promising people, not only is he promising people anti-gravity and a free energy engine to go with the anti-gravity hover car, but he's also promising people you're not even going to need to work because 80% of what you spend money on is energy, and your energy will be free from our free energy engine. Again, does this sound too good to be true? Then it probably is.
Energy is an enormous expense between the fuel for your car and heating and cooling your house. Imagine if all that's done away with. Well, now most of the money that you earn, you get to keep. And that's incredible. So it's no surprise, really, that Salvatore Pius, this name, translates in, I guess, Portuguese or Spanish or something. I think it's Portuguese, as the savior of our nation. Salvatore, savior, Pius, nation.
And only he could.
So again, we're going to be coming out with new power plants that do not consume fuel, but provide clean energy.
Remember, this is promises that he's making about Stavatti Aerospace. He's promising all these pie-in-the-sky things from a company that owes $500,000 that fucked everybody that worked for them out of the money they're owed, or a lot of people, right? But they're going to create a free energy hover car. You won't even have to work anymore. And all of these things. And remember, they're soliciting public investments in their company while David Wilcock is promising all these things that they're going to do. This is a level of scammery that is surprising even from David Wilcock.
And this is one of the things that I am the most excited about. I've been excited about it for a very long time, getting us out of this prison of fossil fuel, which really has become a prison more than ever now from the things that we're seeing. So today is going to be the debut where we're going to talk about a very exciting technology.
A very exciting technology that he got from a YouTube fake free energy video on YouTube.
Which is going into 750 volts of AC current that you can plug in your household appliances to off of only 4.
But first of all, he has no idea how household appliances work, because household appliances, it depends. There's a 220 volt system in Europe and other places, and there's a 120 or is it 240? I don't know what foreign governments use, but there's a difference. And in the United States, though, it's 120 volt AC. If you were to plug any 120 volt AC appliance into 750 volts, you would instantly fry that device, no matter what it is. A toaster, easy bake oven, I don't know, a computer, a laptop. If you plugged anything that was powered by 120 volts into 750, you would instantly fry it. And he doesn't seem to understand that. But it gets better, because now he's going to tell you that this free energy video that he found on YouTube and then edited it so that people wouldn't be able to find it is the secret to free energy that he's going to somehow use, right?
AA batteries. I mean, it seems impossible.
It seems impossible because it is. And by the way, he knows nothing about electronics. I spent my life building electronic circuit boards, computers, and more. And I'm here to tell you, can you get 750 volts AC from 4 AA batteries? Yeah, technically you could with the right voltage inverters and things like that and different diodes. You could build a circuit that would do that, but it would eat those batteries in seconds, maybe minutes, but probably seconds. And there's another variable here that he's totally leaving out, which is current. Voltage is one measurement and current is another. And there's an old saying, it's the volts that jolts, but the mills that kills. And what that means is that, there's two measures of power, the voltage and the milliamps or amperage. You can't power anything off that runs on house current from 4 AA batteries. You could for maybe a second, and then the batteries would eat, no matter what circuit you built, according to conventional electronics, not scammers on YouTube lying to people. That would work for seconds if you're lucky. If you're a very good circuit designer, maybe you could get it to work for 30 seconds, but that's it. Then the batteries would be fried. You'd probably fry the circuits. You'd probably fry the device you were trying to power. But hey, don't let things like actual real science or the expert opinion of someone like me who has built circuit boards for a lifetime. You need to listen to David Wilcock, because he's the director of exotic technology at Stavatti Aerospace, a shady, scammy company that's been called, quote, an investment scam and a Ponzi scheme in court documents, that lied to local officials claiming they were going to create all these jobs, haven't created any, and are being sued by creditors to the tune of over $500,000, right? Don't listen to me. You know, I've just built things like computers, radios, I don't know, PA systems, lighting systems, lasers, circuit boards my entire life. And somehow David Wilcock knows more about how basic electronics works than someone like me. And by the way, I don't want people to think I'm being arrogant here. So show what I'm about to show you to anybody that knows anything about electricity or basic electronics, and ask them if this dumb shit that David Wilcock is telling everybody is real actually works. It doesn't. This is a total joke. And the fact that the best thing he can come up with to bolster his claims of creating a free energy device to power his hover cars that you will then not need to work once you own is literally a scam video of a fake free energy device from YouTube. We're about to get to it. Oh, this is great.
But yet this is what we're dealing with. So this is actually world exclusive new intel.
Yeah, world exclusive new intel is a video that he stole from YouTube. And by the way, I haven't found the video yet, but I will. And the reason I will is because I have a friend who is into all the free energy scammy stuff on YouTube. So I'm going to enlist his help. We're going to try to find it.
Are you guys ready for some new intel? Give me a round of applause if you're ready for some new intel.
What he's calling intel is literally a video that he got on YouTube of a fake free energy device with no proof it actually does what the uploader claims. And by the way, just so you're aware, go type in free energy device or free energy device demonstration into the YouTube search bar. You will find thousands, if not tens of thousands, of fake free energy devices. Now, I'm not saying every single one of them is fake, but I'm pretty confident in that almost all of them are. No one has ever demonstrated a real working free energy device on YouTube or at a physics convention or anywhere else in the universe. But somehow David Wilcock found the one video of a real free energy device. And then he's going to tell everybody that this is part of that secret classified information that he's getting, that he was authorized to disclose. It is laughable.
All right, thank you. So
very awkward.
Yeah, I finally. So we've been given the clearance to basically disclose everything. Don't hold back. Everything is open for release now. So I wanted,
and everything is open for release. And he's been authorized to show us a video that he got on YouTube of a fake free energy device.
To figure out how to show you this power plant, this coil that generates 750 volts off of 4 AA batteries. But there's a man in the video, and I don't want you to see his face, and I don't want you to hear his voice. So the way I did this is that I cut the video. It's one contiguous video, and I don't have his audio, and I don't have his face in the video. So this way, nobody's going to find out who this guy is. Now, he was given this technology by the U.S. military. They have had it before then, and I believe ultimately it came from Valiant Thor. And I'm going to show you exactly why I think that's true. Okay, so
a random
here's
video,
a photo.
A random video of a fake free energy device on YouTube that he got. He's saying it came from an alien, Valiant Thor, but he cut the operator and uploader of the device out of the video for reasons unknown, right?
Of the entire setup. So this is all you actually
This is all you need to generate 750 volts AC from 4 AA batteries. And he's saying that this is a real free energy device. And by the way, there is smoking gun evidence and proof that David Wilcock puts into this presentation that he is completely and totally full of shit. And I'm going to figure out how we're going to, I have to figure out how I'm going to word this, because I was about to say, you can try this at home and see if you don't burn your house down. And there's a reason for that. And it has to do with the thickness of the wires that he's saying is being used to connect that blue coil to that house outlet. Anybody that knows anything about basic electronics will know that if you put too much voltage or too much amperage current through too small or thin of a wire, the wire will burn. That's where we get light bulbs from. Actually, it's a controlled burn in that situation. But anyway, let's listen to David Wilcock make a complete and total fool of himself. But we have to make sure that we understand that this is a man who said, I have a 180 IQ, which means he would be smarter than Einstein. And he doesn't know that there's an absolute tell that this device is completely and totally fake. He doesn't know that. He's the director of advanced technology. He's going to build hover cars and all these advanced aircraft. And they're going to give you a free energy device to power your hover car. And you won't even need to work. This guy is the dumbest grifter on planet Earth after this, I think.
Actually need. Yeah, I can imagine there's gasping going on right now, right? So what you're seeing here in on the bottom is the 4 batteries. And then you have the blue coil there is where all the action is happening. There's tiny little wires that you can't even really see. They're 28 gauge, and they go from the blue coil.
28 gauge. He says the wires going from the blue coil to the 120 volt outlet is 28 gauge. We're going to get back to that in a moment. But remember how I said that David Wilcock is about to make a fool of himself? Well, here we go.
Coil to the outlet, and where that blue piece of tape is between the blue coil and the power outlet. In fact, let's go in a little closer now so you can see that up close.
This is David Wilcock's proof that he's going to create free energy devices. A couple of batteries, some wires, a blue coil, and a 120 volt house outlet.
Can't even really see the wires here, but there are wires going off of the coil to each side of the upper outlet of those 2 outlets. You can see them screwed in if you look really closely.
Yeah, I see them. Does that look like awfully thin wire to be using for house current to anybody else? Do you know what happens when you try to put 750 volts AC through wires that thin? That's right. Instant melt. They would melt instantly. And David Wilcock, the man with the 180 IQ, the man who knows absolutely nothing about how electricity actually works. And again, I've been building circuit boards my whole life, but besides that, I wired an entire 1,000 square foot cabin virtually by myself, but I did have help by a real electrician in the sunroom, but I wired the other 2 rooms completely by myself, more or less, right? I know a little bit about how electricity works. David Wilcock apparently knows nothing about how electricity works, because I give you my word, go ask any electrician, what would happen if I put 750 volts through 28 gauge wire? It would melt instantly, almost instantly. Maybe a few seconds before it would completely obliterate 28 gauge wiring.
Then what he has above there is a voltmeter or an ammeter. And on the top left of the device is a little toggle switch. You can't see it. It's a little bit out of the frame there, but it'll toggle between AC and DC. And then also the turning knob is set to 750 to 1,000 volts, which means that it will detect any voltage between 750 and 1,000.
So David Wilcock is claiming that this setup with 4 AA batteries and a coil, along with 28 gauge wire, can generate between 750 and 1,000 volts.
So here are the basics of the coil as was described by the man in the video. He said it's a ferrite core that is toroidal in shape, so it's basically a magnetic ring made of iron, and this is common inside engines. It's a 28 gauge wire. We don't know what the metal is. I'm assuming copper, but I really don't know. It could definitely be something.
You can make 28 gauge wire out of titanium, and even that would melt, I believe, under that kind of a voltage. But okay.
Some other weird metal, and that might be part of the trick. Although I've heard this is not that hard to build, doesn't take any expensive stuff.
This is not that hard to build, doesn't take any expensive stuff. So David Wilcock, you could show us your working prototype. You say this works, you dummy. Show us one that works then. It would melt in an instant, David Wilcock. You know nothing about electricity, nothing. But somehow a guy who knows nothing about basic electronics and electricity is going to build a free energy device. He's going to change the world, and he doesn't know that 750 volts would instantly melt 28 gauge wires.
So here's the big trick, folks. First, you have a coil. Where am I? Oh, okay. First, you have a coil, and the coil is the coil has 3. So you have this ring of iron that's magnetic, and then you wrap this wire around the outside of it 300 times, 300 windings.
Oh, you got to get the windings right.
Go 12 windings in one direction and 12 windings in the other direction.
Listen to him explaining this. And by the way, I have built coils. I built my own coils, and coils are used in electrical devices, right, for various different things, including generators and motors. This whole description, 300 turns this way, 12 turns, then 12 turns the other way, that's all nonsense. A coil is a coil. It doesn't matter which way the windings go. Well, sometimes it does. But anyway.
And then when you start running energy through this, there's this very interesting thing having to do with Lenz's law and this whole concept of parallel energy fields in the electromagnetic wave. Everything in the electromagnetic wave is based on 90-degree offsets.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
When you start to collide electromagnetic energy fields at 90-degree angles to each other, you eventually get implosion if you do it properly. And it's actually not that difficult. And what does implosion mean?
If it's not that difficult, why doesn't he build a device and show us a working device? Could it be because almost every of the thousands and thousands of videos purporting to show a free energy device on YouTube, almost all of them are fake, and if you actually try to build it, it doesn't work as described? Could that be why? You said it didn't take any, wasn't even expensive. What would it cost? 4 AA batteries cost what? $10? Even if you buy really good batteries, the battery case is $2. We're up to $12. Some wire, a piece of iron, for $20, he could have built this thing and showed us one working. He didn't do that. Why would you not do that if it only costs $20 to prove that this is a real device and it really works? Could it be because this is just one of the tens of thousands of fake free energy devices all over YouTube? And by the way, many of them use a lot of trickery, like they hide wires going up into where they're measuring it from, or they hide batteries and things or whatever. It's literally a clickbait scam if it's on YouTube and it's a free. Not every single one, I'm sure. There's some people making honest attempts at building these devices, but the vast majority are scams that don't work. And David Wilcock just said it's very inexpensive. It's like $20 worth of parts on that table. Why don't you build it and show us all that you're not full of shit? Why don't you build it and show us a working device? Get somebody from Standards and Measures from the government to come and verify that you're actually generating more than you're putting into the circuit. He can't, and he won't, because this is just another fake story from David Wilcock. And this story would only work on the most dumb of his viewers. The stupidest people that watch him will believe him because they don't have the brain cells to rub together to figure out that if you put 750 volts through 28 gauge wire, it will melt instantly and burn.
It means that...
By the way, there's no disclaimer here. I want to put a disclaimer up. Don't try this at home. You might burn your house down if you try to build this device. Do not try to build this device. You could cause a fire. You could burn your house down. David Wilcock's showing this to people. Yeah, this really works.
Energy from our reality is disappearing into some alternate reality, and it's no longer visible to us. And I'll explain that in a minute.
Oh, so this is how this works. They're getting the free energy from an alternate dimension.
So this causes what they call an electron cascade. Essentially what's happening is that electrons are shooting around inside this coil, and they start doing this. They go into the center, they pop, they make an explosion, they come back out, they pop again, and this is happening millions of times per second.
This is the stupidest explanation of how a coil works that I've ever heard in my entire life. He should go take a high school level physics class, and then he'll know how foolish and stupid he looks here.
Now, this
is where it gets interesting, because remember we talked about Wilbert Smith, who was that Canadian wackadoo that David Grush keeps citing as a source. Guess who else is using that Canadian wackadoo, Wilbert Smith, as a source? You remember him, the guy who telepathically communicated with aliens from Venus from his backyard. Who's citing him as a source? David Grush. Guess who else is citing him as a source? David Wilcock. They're both citing a complete and total wackadoo who thought he had mind-to-mind communications with aliens from Venus from his backyard. So that essentially means that David Wilcock and David Grush are citing the same wackadoo fake source.
Sounded a lot like something that W.B. Smith had talked about. He's a great researcher from the 1950s.
Great researcher. He's a wackadoo.
Was in touch with the human ETs, and in fact, they are the ones who provided him with these instructions. So here is a photo of Dr. Smith, and here...
This is the wackadoo that David Grush got that story about how UFOs are classified higher than nuclear secrets. That's what David Grush is using as a source, Wilbert Smith. And look, here we have wackadoo Wilcock is using the same source for approver maneuver for his fake energy device.
Here is the radio telegraph device that he first established contact with these ETs using this method. It began in 1952.
So here, this is great, because now all you dumb idiots that are saying Grush is credible, here's some of the other things that source Grush is using has also claimed.
He claims in the book
he contacted 12 groups of extraterrestrial aliens, right?
That a total, this is The Saucers Speak is the name of the book by George Hunt Williamson. 12 groups were contacted. He was personally contacted on a telegraph using the ham radio Morse code.
Yeah, because aliens are going to use a telegraph to contact humans on Earth, right?
Signal. And then again, Saucers Speak was written about this, and they hid W.B. Smith's identity, but there's letters between the two of them that are now on presidentialufo.com. So these ETs explained that we are going through a dimensional shift. It's very exciting. Our solar system is moving into...
In the 1950s, ETs explained that our solar system was moving into a more highly energetic region of the galaxy. And it's just a coincidence that David Wilcock said that same shit in recent times, right?
A more highly...
Now we know where he got that bullshit from somebody that claimed that they were in contact with aliens on a telegraph in 1950. Oh, it's so stupid.
The energized part of the galaxy here. And,
yo, you got to think, like, how stupid are David Wilcock's followers? And then imagine they're even stupider than you think or thought.
This is going to increase cosmic ray bombardment on the Earth, and the entire solar system will be transformed. And they gave this very urgent message to world governments. Now,
wow, the entire solar system would be transformed, and that was from 1950s and 60s. Does any of the cosmologists or astrophysicists or astronomers around to confirm that our entire solar system was transformed somewhere between 1950 and 2024? No, none of them will say that. Only wackadoos believe this nonsense. And this, Wilbur Smith was one of the wackadoos that David Grush is using as a source for his bullshit. And here we have David Wilcock using the same wackadoo who claimed he was in telepathic communication with aliens from Venus from his yard, and the aliens were contacting him on a telegraph and a ham radio. Yeah, David Grush is using the very same sources that David Wilcock uses to prove his bullshit. Does that mean they're both full of shit? I think so.
This is from a lecture that he gave in 1961 based upon what these human ETs were telling him to do. And check this out. It's very, very interesting. He said, we've built 2 items of hardware on their instructions, and I believe, again, this is going to be the same as Valiant Thor. Same people. One is a coil. It has a ferrite core and a trick winding on it. To look at it, it looks like a rather oddly wound inductor. When measured on a radio frequency bridge, it shows peculiar properties. There are certain frequencies at which it is impossible to balance the radio frequency bridge, which is a direct contradiction to what any electrical engineer should tell you will happen with a coil of wire wound on a ferrite core. So what does that mean, the RF bridge? And
by the way, I just want to take a moment that this is another claim out of hundreds of claims of Wilbur Smith, a man who was essentially fired from the Canadian government for being a wackadoo. A man who claimed he was in telepathic communication with aliens from Venus from his backyard. A man who claimed that he was contacted by 12 groups of aliens on a ham radio and a telegraph using Morse code. And none of that shit is real. He's never proved anything, but David Wilcock believes him because he once described a coil that looks strangely like a coil that he saw in a scammy fake free energy video on YouTube that he's saying is real. This is peak Wilcock.
You can't balance the RF bridge. Well, what that means is the energy is disappearing, and you can't figure out where the energy is going because there's no part of the entire circuit where the energy appears to be. The energy is, if you will, warping out into some other reality. And so the basis of this, again, is the caduceus coil. And the caduceus is the...
Talk about connecting disconnected dots. And again, if it only costs $22 to build that device that he showed, why doesn't he just build one and show us it powering his house? Why doesn't he just build one? And again, there's so many problems with this. First of all, if you plug a 120 volt device into 750 to 1000 volts, it will fry it instantly. And number 2, the 28 gauge wire. You can't do that. You can't put 750 to 1000 watts through 28 gauge wire. 28 gauge wire is like the thinness of the thinnest sewing needle that you've ever seen. That's about how thick I'm trying to describe. It's basically slightly thicker than a human hair. That's how big. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while since I worried about gauges of wire. But let me just be the first to assure you that if you put 750 to 1000 watts through a 28 gauge wire, you're going to have problems instantly. It's going to heat up, blow up, whatever. It's not going to create free energy. It might burn your house down. But just as we saw David Wilcock irresponsibly giving people medical advice, now he's showing people free energy devices that he says works. So who knows if some wackadoo tried to build it and caused a fire somewhere. We don't know. He didn't give any disclaimer or whatever. Just like, yeah, this works. Just plug 4 AA batteries through a coil into a 120 volt thing through 28 gauge wire. It's so irresponsible and childish and stupid. It's ridiculous.
The classic DNA-like symbol of the 2 serpents going up the rod, which could very well refer to the human Kundalini energy, could refer to DNA, has lots of different connections.
Could refer to anything.
But in this
apparently.
case, this is what I wanted you to see, folks. This is how you wrap the wire around a core of iron, which has to be magnetic. And then
this, and here's where it gets stupid too. The free energy device he showed is not wrapped this way. It's wrapped an entirely different way. So he's using a diagram that has nothing to do with the way he described that free energy device working.
When you start running energy through this, the energy just disappears. You don't really see where it's going.
No, it does not disappear. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It simply changes form. Now it may change form from electrical energy into magnetic energy, but it doesn't just disappear. That's a completely and totally nonsensical, factually inaccurate statement he just made.
It seems to be vanishing. So
let's go back to UFO wackadoo Wilbert Smith.
If we take this coil excited with radio frequency at or near certain critical frequencies, energy goes into the coil, nothing comes out, it just disappears.
That's against the first law of thermodynamics.
As a matter of fact, we had one coil about 1 inch in diameter, 8 inches long. We poured 1 kilowatt into the coil for 2 hours. Coil was a 2-inch brass tube. We could find no radiation around the outside at all.
Yeah, and hey, let's not listen to like world-renowned experts on electricity and magnetism, like, I don't know, MIT professors that teach college-level master's courses on electricity and magnetism. Let's listen to a UFO wackadoo that got fired from the Canadian government, for being a wackadoo and claiming he was in telepathic communication with aliens about how electricity and magnetism works.
So they sent 2 kilowatts in. They sent it. What is it? 1 kilowatt for 2 hours and nothing came out. So this is the Jean-Louis Naudin in 2005 building one of these on his own in the lab using really just like a toilet paper tube and copper wire.
Why doesn't David Wilcock build this stuff and display it all to us, right? Including the free energy device.
And sure enough, every time you run energy through it, you get these strange gains and drops in voltage. As you see, the voltage is the y-axis.
Yeah, and that could have to do with 100 different things, including impedance, resistance, things that people that actually know about electricity understand. But when you get a wackadoo that doesn't understand how basic electricity and magnetism works, they see things that aren't there, in my opinion.
And it's 300 volts, 400 volts there where the red line is. I don't know if you can see that in the audience. I hope you can. Here's another image of the caduceus coil. Probably you want to get it more of a 9-degree angle. I think that's...
Yeah, you see that wire? That's like 10 times thicker than the wire that David Wilcock is claiming the other guy put 750 volts through, right? It's just
a little bit too tightly wound, perhaps. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't do it that way. So then the boys topside, meaning these human extraterrestrials, said...
the aliens told him that they were making tensor energy, which is a type of 6-dimensional radio wave. Yeah. And again, there's no such thing as 6-dimensional radio waves. I think that, if a real scientist told you there were 6-dimensional radio waves, a reputable scientist, maybe you could believe him. But believing some UFO wackadoo who got fired from the Canadian government about something called 6-dimensional radio waves might be your first clue that he's full of shit.
That they were making tensor energy, a 6th-dimensional radio wave, which is used extensively for radio communications, power transmission, and pushing and pulling. So there it is. You're going to get gravitational energy off of this, and you're going to get free energy off of this. So it appears that...
Yeah, okay, we're going to get free energy. Great. Can you show us a working device, David Wilcock? Can you show us one of your prototypes that can actually generate 750 volts from 4 AA batteries with 28 gauge wire? I got to get, who we ought to have? We ought to have that dummy from Falcon Space built this fucking thing. He's already trying to blow his own lab up, look at, hey, build this David Wilcock bullshit device and show if it works or not, right? John is here chiming in, who says, and by the way, I want to thank John because he's the one who sent me this video and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I watched this shit. John Stavatti says, it's not even worth building this contraption. 4 AA batteries, thin wires connected to a small blue toroid. Such a joke. Where is the AC coming from? Yeah, I'm here to tell you that you can't generate that kind of power from 4 AA batteries, right? Yeah, Carl Christopherson with a kind and generous 50 SEC. I'm always confused. What is SEC? Is that like Norwegian money? I don't know what sex are. What is that? Swedish krona. Oh, okay. So it's equivalent to $5. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. We appreciate you and your kindness, and want to take a moment to thank you for helping us to praise the cash. We appreciate your kindness, generosity, and support, and helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
Well, here's the thing, Carl Christofferson. I could build it, but I don't think it generates any power. You might get 6 volts out of it, even going through a coil, though. The coil is going to change the voltage slightly, not to the point of 750 to 1,000, but maybe I'll do that. If I get time, I've got a shop in the garage. I'll get some 28 gauge wire. I'll build it exactly the way David Wilcock said will generate free energy. And you're right. We can make a video about it, because then I could display perfectly to all my viewers that David Wilcock is full of shit. And I'm kind of big on that. So thank you for keeping me honest, Carl Christofferson. I'll make a video. We'll do exactly what he said, and we'll measure it. I've got multi-testers that can measure voltage. I have a piece of iron or ferrite core, whatever you need. I'll get it, and we'll wrap it around 300 times, and then 12 the other way and 12 the other way, and we'll figure it out and show that it does nothing. Yes, do not try this at home. John says, definitely do not put electronics in your microwave. It would be 1,000 wraps to even come close, not 8 or 9 that they show. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
The difference between the original Valiant Thor rod and then the ring is simply taking this idea and building it into a ring, and then you discover, oh my God, I'm getting all this extra energy. And again, this probably came from Valiant Thor. So it can do gravity.
It came from Valiant Thor, the alien.
Everything. They use this energy for just about everything we could think of, and it also is very connected to consciousness. That's a whole other discussion. This is why I call it the source field. We could not control this energy. We could only generate it. We are hoping later on we'll be able to learn how to control it, but at the present time, we're not smart enough.
Oh, yeah. We're not smart enough.
So here's the basics of how this coil actually works. First of all, you have the 4 AA batteries, as we said, that creates the kick to get it started. There's my dog yawning upstairs. She wants this to be over. I don't. Normally, the 4 batteries generate 5 DC volts, and we'll...
Oh, God. This guy's so dumb he can't do 3rd grade math. Listen, this is pissing me off now. Normally, the 4 batteries generate 5 DC volts. This is how dumb the director of advanced technology at Stavatti Aerospace is. He can't even do 1st grade math. And I'm going to do it for you right now just to display how dumb this guy is. Like, you can't even get 1st grade math right? Let me see. How am I going to... let's stop the screen. I'm going to do it this way. Window. All right, here. I've never done this before. Will it work? Yeah, it'll work. Okay, so each AA battery generates 1 point. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm clicking on the screen, on my screen. 1.5 volts, right? Each AA battery generates 1.5 or 1.5 volts. And David Wilcock just said that those 4 batteries generate 5 volts. This is how dumb this guy is. If you take 1.5 and then you multiply it by 4, what you get is 6 volts. He can't do 1st grade math. Look, I feel like calling my 7-year-old son in here. I think he could do the math. My 7-year-old can add 1.5 times 4 and get 6. David Wilcock doesn't even know how much power 4 batteries generate. That's how dumb this guy is. But he's the director of advanced technology at an aerospace. Oh my God, he's the director of advanced technology And he can't do first grade math and add up how much 4 batteries generating power. Oh my gosh. All right, we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the video. We're going to go back. This is so stupid. The guy can't do first grade math. He's got a 180 IQ. He can't do first grade math. Normally, the 4 batteries generate 5 DC volts.
See that a little later. The coil, however, is generating 750 volts of normal plug-in alternating current like you could have in the wall of your house.
And again, if you plug any house device into 750 volts AC, you'll blow it up.
It's unbelievable. The batteries do not need to be changed for over a year at a time. They just stay still.
You can power everything in your house for a year off of 4 AA batteries. But he doesn't even know how much 4 AA batteries generate. And the coil, though, generates 750.
Coil, however, is generating...
He says you can power your house for a year on 4 AA batteries. Look, again, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Why the hell are we all paying power bills? If we could just build a $22 device from 4 AA batteries, some wire, and a piece of iron, and one little electrical outlet that costs, I don't know, they cost like $2. Why are we all paying high energy bills? I'm just going to get 4 AA batteries. There's a reason that we're all paying power bills. It's because this does not work. This guy doesn't even know how to do basic first grade math. He knows nothing about electronics. He knows nothing about how electricity works. He knows nothing about how rectifiers or diodes or coils actually work.
750 volts of normal plug-in alternating current like you could have in the wall of your house. It's unbelievable. The batteries do not need to be changed for over a year at a time.
Why is David Wilcock paying a power bill then? And why is Stavatti Aerospace? Look, Stavatti Aerospace has to rebuild an entire electrical substation. They just need $22. They don't need funding like they keep saying. This is incredible that he doesn't stop to think for a moment how childish, how stupid, and how nonsensical he appears to be pushing completely and totally fake free energy devices as something that's real, right? And by the way, that's the kicker of how you know none of this shit works. Because if it worked, nobody would be paying the electric company anymore. We'd all just go out to... We could go to Home Depot for $22 and buy all the shit that we need to build this thing. Nobody does, not successfully, and there's a reason. It's because this is bullshit. Just like everything else David Wilcock pushes as true and real.
They just stay still, and they keep on running. So then he changes over to the worst batteries he could possibly find from Sunbeam. He takes the batteries out live and puts the cheaper ones in. So let's check this out. Okay, so there you can see the ever-ready batteries that he's had in there, he says, for over a year. And, of course, that's only 5 volts. And then he's got it set to AC current, 750 to 1,000 volts here.
By the way, I have a feeling that this video may come from Energy Bat Studios. But that's maybe a story for another time.
Once again. Now he's going to turn off the batteries on that little switch, or turn them on rather. Now the coil is running, so he sticks that in there, and check this out. Out of that outlet, you got 750 volts from 4 AA batteries. It is very, very amazing. So as we were saying...
Why doesn't he plug household devices into it? Could it be because 750 volts would fry it?
The main coil is 300 windings around the ferrite core, as well as 12 going one way and 12 going the other. I have every reason to believe that this is, again, the caduceus coil.
He has every reason to believe that this thing that looks nothing like the coil shown in the video is the same thing.
This crisscrossing energy between wires, which we're going to see has a lot to do with 1950s extraterrestrials and Archangel Michael, all kinds of interesting stuff. So the batteries are only really needed as a kicker, which actually just keeps this reaction going, this electron cascade. And he says that a single set of batteries will run for over a year. So we have opposing electromagnetic fields that collide together every millionth of a second, creating a storm of electricity, or the electron.
You know who else used the term storm of electricity? A whole lot of free energy scammers.
On cascade. So here's another video now where you're going to see, now he's got the sunbeam batteries in there, and he's showing you those tiny, tiny wires, the 28 gauge wires that are connected.
If there was really 750 volts being applied to wires that small, they would instantly melt. Unless it's a tiny, 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 tiny bit of current, and then therefore is unusable to power household devices.
And he's showing you now the coil, and that there's 300 windings going this way. And then he's going to gesture about okay, those are two little wires. He says 12 windings going one way, 12 windings going the other way. He touches this. Oh, he shocks himself right there, because there's a lot of 750 volts is a lot. And right now he's describing the cascading motion that the
cascading motion. Yeah. This is real. Look, this is how it works. Sons of bitches. Free energy. This is how the free energy shit works. This is so childish and so nonsensical.
The counterbalancing electromagnetic fields have, as they collide together, and then you extract the power out of that, you put it into the outlet, and it's showing this incredible delivery. Now with the sunbeam batteries, it's going to be a little less, and he's going to show you that now. So he plugs it in, and let's look and see what happens. It's only 650 volts this time, not 750.
Yeah, I have a feeling that what may be taking place here is a transmutation of DC volts into AC voltage, but the power generated would be so minuscule, so tiny, that you could barely power anything from it. Yeah, 700. Well, see, this is where it gets interesting. John C. Stavatti says, isn't 750 volts enough to kill someone? It really, listen, what hurts you the most is the amperage, the amount of power. The voltage is one measure. And there's an old saying that I mentioned earlier. It's the volts that jolts, but the mills that kills. So if you could touch wires that were 10,000 volts AC, but if the power was tiny amount of power, then it would only stun you. Same for 750 volts, I think, right? Yeah, that's another thing. I bet Wilcock doesn't have permission to use and broadcast a video on his own YouTube page. Well, this is on Brighteon, so who knows, but interesting.
50. So it's gone down, but again, this is because
now he's going to throw out a big word.
Sorry, let me cut back.
This guy can't do third grade math to add up how much 4 batteries equal in voltage, but he's going to use huge science words.
Back here. This is probably because of the fact that he's had all of this, the weakening of the batteries, I guess, somehow diminishes the effect. They don't have as much current or amperage, maybe. It's a little strange, but okay. So now I want to talk about sonoluminescence, because this is very fascinating.
Okay. I'm checking out. I can't take any more of this guy's bullshit. This is ridiculous. The fact that look, here's some takeaways from this video. He is the director of advanced technology for a multi-million-dollar aerospace company, and he can't add up 1.5 times 4. I'm going to say that one more time. Stavatti's director of advanced technology can't add 1.5 times 4. And he also apparently doesn't know that if there really was 750 volts AC that had enough current to power a household device, it would instantly shred and melt 28 gauge wire. He doesn't know that. But somehow we're all supposed to believe that he is going to build anti-gravity and hover cars. Sure, it sounds completely plausible that a man who can add how much 4 batteries generate in DC voltage is somehow going to give us the 2 greatest technological scientific breakthroughs of the 20th century, 21st century, right? Or human history. If somebody created free energy and then they created anti-gravity too, they would be hailed as the next Einstein or a savior to the human race, because all those tropes are true that these people use. If you had free energy, you could save the environment. Everybody could quit working so much and just do what they like. And anyway, this guy claims that he's going to create the 2 greatest advancements in technology in all of human history, and he can't add how much power 4 batteries generate. So I'm calling bullshit on David Wilcock's free energy claims. I'm calling bullshit on his anti-gravity claims. Show us something that works. So far, all David Wilcock has is a whole lot of bullshit and nothing that works. And, this video perfectly shows why no one should ever trust anything David Wilcock says is true or accurate or real information. It's absolutely ridiculous that this guy is making money pushing this level of garbage on people. And it's absolutely ridiculous to me that he pushes this level of garbage on people and then people give him more money, right? So we've already been here for 2.5 hours. We're going to take a quick musical break because we've got one of Simon Fly's excellent David Wilcock music videos. And then we're going to remind you that we're a viewer-supported show. And unlike David Wilcock, who gets paid to lie to people, I get paid to try to bring people some clarity, some critical thinking, some discernment, and some real truth. We're a viewer-supported show, and we appreciate your support. We'll be right back after a fun music video from David Wilcock and Simon Fly. Simon Fly helped him a little bit to make this. And a quick reminder that we're a viewer-supported show. But I always have to say this and put the banner up. The show is not over. I'll be back to answer your comments and questions right after these words. Get your comments and questions ready. Put them in all capital letters. The show's not over. I'll be back to interact with the live audience and right after these messages.
Oh yeah, look at that. Very good. 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 I'm David Wilcock. I'm David Wilcock. I'm David Wilcock. Talk. Wow. 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 Extraterrestrials, angels, talk. Extraterrestrials, angels, talk. Extraterrestrials, angels, talk. Extraterrestrials, angels, talk. Wilcock. 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 Extraterrestrials, angels, talk. Extraterrestrials, angels, talk. Extraterrestrials, angels, talk. Extraterrestrials, angels, talk. Woo! 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 Talk. I'm David Wilcock.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Campion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truth Seekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and in many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash! Praise the cash! Praise the cash! We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truth Seekers with your host, Stephen Campion. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truth Seekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers.
Okay, greetings and salutations. So we're back to answer comments and questions from the live chat. I saw some great comments here that I definitely want to share. From John Stavatti, he says, "Stop calling it an archangel. It's a demon. Wilcock is summoning demons. Fact." Well, we have sort of displayed that, you know, if information claiming to come from an angelic or divine source is wrong even once, then it's not from an angelic or divine source according to biblical principles. So I think it's much more likely that he's communicating. If he really is communicating with non-human entities, they're demonic in nature, because demons, deceive people. And we have seen that his information is incorrect, that he claims is coming from an angel, meaning it can't be coming from an angel. Go ask any minister, go ask any Catholic priest or Jewish rabbi. If the prophet is wrong even once, he's not a prophet of God, maybe a prophet of somebody else. Stormcrow says $1.4 million in tax debt, maybe not making that much money, but John chimes back. Corey Good said in his court depositions that Wilcock would make $1 million per course. Yeah. I don't know what this is about. Stephen on crack. We'll have a break and be right back. There's enough rumors swirling around about me. By the way, someone is saying that my name, Stephen Cambion, is on a sex offender database in Pennsylvania. And of course, it's a nameless, faceless, brand new Twitter account, much like the nameless, faceless, brand new Twitter accounts that said I was a convicted felon. Both of those things are completely and totally false and provably false. And I have reached my end of patience with people that are willing to spread completely and totally fake, made up, malicious rumors about me just because I tell people the truth about their scammy, scummy heroes. And we're going to be visiting what we should be doing when people, and of course, it's always nameless, faceless, anonymous accounts. It's never been somebody that was a real and verifiable person on Twitter that makes serious, damaging, reputation-destroying allegations like that. And by the way, at least in Pennsylvania, it's called the Megan's Law website. Anybody can go on there. You go check my name. There's nobody with that name in the offender registry database for the state of Pennsylvania. But that hasn't stopped some dumb dickhead from putting that all over Twitter. And it's not just one dumb dickhead, it's multiple dumb dickheads doing that to me right now. But, I'm not supposed to be upset about it, right? You're not supposed to be upset when somebody literally accuses you of the most heinous crime a man could be accused of. I have a wife. I have children of my own, you dumb dickhead assholes doing that, right? And I will say this, if somebody did that to me in person, I would probably knock their fucking teeth out. But no, a younger version of me might. I have a wife, I have children. I'm not going to risk my future or freedom for some idiot making completely and totally 100% provably false claims and reputation destroying allegations about me. I'm just not going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. But isn't it great? Hey, Elon Musk, could you maybe stop people from saying that I'm on a sex offender registry on Twitter? Because I've reported that tweet 3 times now. Other people are reporting that account and that tweet. Both the tweet and the account are still active on Twitter. So apparently you're allowed to go call people sex offenders. And look, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it one more time for the stupid. I have never been arrested for a criminal act. I have never been convicted of a criminal act. The only thing if you did a background report on me, you're going to find some traffic tickets. Everybody's got traffic tickets. No, I've never been convicted of a felony. No, I've certainly never been convicted of any kind of a crime involving a sex crime. And the fact that some people are willing to do that to somebody shows you what scumbags some of these people are, right? That's a scumbag thing to do, especially to a man who has a wife and children, right? That is the lowest scumbaggy thing that you could possibly do. And by the way, after I showed him the screenshot from the Pennsylvania registry, which does not contain the name Stephen Cambion at all, no reply. No deletion of the tweet. No, gee, I'm sorry, right? And what he said is, I find it hard to believe that there are 2 people with that name on the PA offender registry. Well, here's where you're a dumb dickhead, because not only is there not 2 people with that same name on the PA registry, there is not 1 person with that name on the PA list of registered offenders. So this person is just spreading completely and totally easily provable slanderous lies about me, right? And you know, I don't know what I'm going to do about this situation, but I'm not just going to sit back and take some dumb dickhead saying things like that without consequences to them. But there's not much you can do when people are willing to go that far to, you know, and let's be clear, this is about discrediting me and making me the subject of, reputation damaging rumors, right? JLW says he does look different as well. He looks like a real train wreck now. In the video on his live stream, he obviously looked way better pre and post Corey. Yeah, John says David's appearance has definitely fallen off a cliff since his divorce. Downward spiral in progress. Patty says, I'm not on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Forget it. Too much meanness. Yeah. And Arden Paranormal is here. We want to thank Arden Paranormal for doing a great job being our one and only chat room moderator, who is also, by the way, I think the one and only Discord moderator now. The Sixth Sense says, report, block them, don't keep replying. You are feeding them. That's what they want. Attention. Yeah. Spooky says, after Elizabeth left, he had a mental break, began talking to Michael to reboot his career back to the late 90s and step away from the Corey SSP narratives. Yes, I agree. Exactly. That's how they fake them. Randy 1979 says the outlet in the video has a cord inserted into the push-in terminals in the back of the outlet. Yeah, there's always something with those free energy, right? Steven, remember the super chats. Did I miss one? I apologize. Oh, yeah, Spooky. Driving in my hover car, hit the like button. Spooky with a kind and generous £2 super chat. We want to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors for your kindness, generosity, and support. And certainly we want to thank all of you for helping us to praise the cash. We have had a good year. I'm still, my wife is going to drive me nuts because soon I have to do the accounting thing for taxes. And the worst thing that you could possibly do with your wife, if she's an accountant, is have to do taxes with her. But thank you for helping us to praise the cash.
Where's the cash? 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 Where's you?
Praise it. Thank you, Spooky, and I apologize. I was going to check in with those, make sure I didn't miss any before we wrap things up. Yes, Operation Shutdown. I'm waiting to see Elizabeth do a tell-all interview. Well, I could follow her on Instagram and ask her. I'm at least going to ask her. But I have a feeling that in order to get that sweet, sweet grifter money and the divorce settlement, she's going to have to sign an NDA. David Wilcock is an idiot, but I think he's smart enough to know she knows all this shady, scammy stuff about me. I'm going to have to get her to sign an NDA, right? Could be, but I'll ask. I keep saying I'm going to ask. I agree with Randy. Definitely something to that contraption that wasn't visible. Well, it was good enough to fool idiot David Wilcock, right? I shouldn't call him an idiot. I apologize for being personally insulting. Oh, one other bit of business. I realized when we went to break that I did not put my fair use banner up or verbally cite fair use for the video that we shared tonight. I'm doing so now. What we did tonight was the textbook definition of fair use. We used that video for the purposes of education, critiquing. This is a transformative work. That was fair use. And lawyer letters are standing by. We've won every single false copyright claim against us, regardless of whether I verbally cite it. You don't have to verbally cite it. It helps to make your case later. I'm verbally citing it now. What we did tonight is fair use. It's a transformative work. It is what it is. Spooky says, won't happen. Elizabeth moved to Sedona and found another guru to grift with. Sedona is cult central. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the Sixth Sense chiming in as well. That would be great. Unfortunately, I don't see it happening unless it's a deposition or whatnot. Yeah, Operation Shutdown says you may be right on that. Yeah, I don't believe I don't believe she'll ever give a tell-all interview. She might write a tell-all book if she needs money, though. Let's all just cross our fingers for that. Amy Collins says, I'm here and I'm on Skype and Telegram. Take your pick. People keep telling me to join Telegram. I don't, no. In fact, I'm trying to pull back and not spend so much time on social media. You know, a really bad habit that I just got into is watching Facebook shorts. I never did that before. But Bert Kreischer and some other comedians that I like are all over those Facebook clips. So if you just swipe, you'll get clips from comedians you like. But the other day, I was sitting here, I think I was killing some time while files were copying. And I suddenly realized that I spent 80 minutes watching Facebook short videos. And again, it was all stuff I like, you know, Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer and Rogan clips and stuff. But I don't have 80 minutes to waste just looking through short videos. So I have to break that habit immediately. The Sixth Sense reminding everybody with a fair use statement, the video may contain transformative or derivative work for the purpose of education, commentary, and criticism. Thank you. Yes, Al Garay reminding everybody that lawyer letters are standing by, bitches. Yes, they are. Pinzerloo loves Bert. I love Bert Kreischer, and I love Tom Segura, and the two of them together is almost too much. Those guys are really funny guys. And, you know, we always need a laugh, right? Stormcrow says, Wilcock thinks bathing in pee gives you superpowers. Calling him an idiot is being kind. I know, but we're trying to be, look, this is a professional show, Stormcrow. We're a professional show. While we're talking about people taking baths in their own piss, we're trying to be as professional as we possibly can, okay? By the way, I have some characters ready. I'm going to be doing the screen tests of which and putting them on Patreon and on our members-only section. And I want to take a moment to say that one of my New Year's resolutions is to do a video weekly for your Patreon members and you YouTube channel member supporters. All too often, I think I'm going to have time to do things, and I say I'm going to do things, and then the end of the month comes quick, and I only get to like the video or the journal. We do that every single month, but I'd like to give you people some extra. Anna Louisa says, I don't watch short videos. I like long videos. Well, you know what's annoying that I've noticed in those Facebook shorts? Sometimes there'll be a short video and somebody will begin to tell a story. And it seems like they're just getting to the good part and then the video ends. And there's no way to find the part two. It's annoying as hell. This is one of the reasons why I want to break this bad habit immediately, because so many times I've sat for 3 minutes listening to somebody tell a story, and then the video just cuts off, and I'm like, what the, you know? And I really don't like that mindless scrolling, and I found that this new bad habit I've picked up, I'm doing it on my desktop, and then I'm doing it on my phone. I'm waiting for my kid to get off the bus, and I'm doing it, and now I'm joining Instagram. By the way, well, I'm not really joining Instagram. I've been on there forever. I just never used that Instagram account. Please follow me on Instagram. It's at Renegade Magician. One word, Renegade, and the word magician, back to back, but one word, on Instagram. I can tell how old that account is. I was still doing magic shows when I started that account. I've cleared it of all the magic crap, though, and I couldn't figure out whether I could change the user ID. If anybody knows, can you change your user ID on Instagram? Let me know. I'd like to change it to Truthseeker Show. My only other option, I think, is to delete that account and start over, because they connect it direct to your phone and you can't really just start a new one, I don't think, or, I don't know. Not very familiar. Amy said, the said individual advocates bathing in self-expelled urine, trying to think how a news network would say it. Good job, Amy Collins. That's pretty good. I'm going to say it like that. Mr. Wilcock is an individual who advocates bathing in self-expelled urine. That sounds professional. It sounds more professional than saying he takes baths in his own piss, right? Send me a message, Andrea. Somebody email me and tell me how to do that. Somebody Is it? No, it's Renegade Magician, isn't it? No, it's Renegade Magician, not the Renegade Magician. But if somebody knows how to change the user ID on Instagram, please send me a message and let me know. If somebody has a link, go to profile settings, Stephen. Oh man, if I could do that, that would just make my life perfect if I could figure this out. Well, I don't even know where profile settings are. I'll try to figure this out. I see edit profile. I don't know if that's it. No. It lets you change your photo there. I'll have to figure this out. I try to figure it out. Oh, edit profile? No, we're in edit profile. You want me to go to profile settings. I'm going to have to figure this out off air. Yeah. Here, I'm going to give you my email, or you can DM me on Twitter how to do that. I'd really appreciate it, because that user ID has nothing to do with what I do now. So email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com, or hit me up on Facebook, Stephen Cambion, or on Twitter @Stephen Cambion, or on Facebook @Stephen Cambion. Send me a message. Oh, there we go. Spooky, sending you a screenshot to show you. See, I can always count on a little help from my friends, and I appreciate that. Here's how to change your Instagram. Oh, here, I'm just going to share this on the screen. Oh, that's the problem. I'm using it on desktop. I'll have to log on from my phone. I'm not a phone person, right? But thanks to both of you, I'll be able to figure it out one way or the other. Awesome people. Yeah, Spooky beat me. Yes, and Anna Louisa says, I'm out of Facebook for 5 years. My social media is commenting on few live videos on YouTube, Stephen Show and Ryder Lee. Well, I'm glad that you found us, Anna Louisa, and you're a great part of our show. Great to have you here. MK Ultra is here, and thanks for being a member. Says, great show, Stephen, listening while I work. I'm glad that maybe I can make you laugh. Hey, MK Ultra, here's my joke for the week. I'm going to try to do at least one good joke for the week. So a lot of you know that I was having issues, and I started seeing a therapist, and my therapist told me, we were talking, and he said, well, you know, Stephen, you definitely are a high functioning alcoholic. And I thought about it for a second. I said, what did you say? And the therapist said it again. He said, Stephen, you should know this. You are a high functioning alcoholic. And I thought about it for a second, and I thought, he's right. I'm a functioning alcoholic, and I'm also high. High functioning alcoholic, just a little wordplay. I don't know. I like that. I think that is a great joke. Art and Paranormal says, I'm really late, but I'm here. You're fired. We're getting a new moderator. No, actually, I want to compliment Art and Paranormal, because since we purged all of the moderators and we only have Art and Paranormal, it has been the least drama portion. Since that happened, no more drama. No more drama in the Discord, no more drama in the live chat, no more fighting back and forth with 12 different moderators and, you know, trying to mediate disputes and arguments, and all that drama went away. So it was the greatest choice. Spooky is the one person that may get a wrench back. But I'm telling you, as soon as we got two, the shit's going to start. The shit will start as soon as there's two moderators. They'll disagree on a decision. Next thing I know, my phone will be blowing up. Spooky will be like, this Art and Paranormal bitch got to go. Art and Paranormal will be blowing up on my phone. This Spooky, why did you add Spooky back? You got to get rid of that bitch. And it's going to be drama. I like the one wrench system. But we'll think about it. We'll think about it. I got to think about it. Yes, I have. MK Ultra says, off topic, but have you heard Norm Macdonald's moth joke? Yeah, I loved Norm Macdonald. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. He made me laugh every time I saw him. Yeah. Algaray, I should make you a moderator over there. Algaray is sad. If you go over to the Twitch chat, there's like 3 people, and one of them is always Algaray. and sometimes my friend Matt, by the way, hey, Matt, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays if you're listening or watching, to you and your beautiful wife and 2 children. And I miss you guys, and I'm hoping to be back to the cabin. But it looks like snow this weekend, so maybe not this weekend. Yeah, and we have, I'm trying to see, how do I see? Yeah, there's 3 whole live viewers. You know, we've been doing Twitch for more than a year, and we get 3 live viewers. And maybe it's because, you know, people go to Twitch to see video game content for the most part. I think it's very specific, that platform, but not so much for, you know, long form talk shows. Gary Spooky is over there, right? It is what it is. Amy Collins says, I don't ever recall a dispute with any other mod, but then again, I have never seen Discord. Yeah, it's like the Wild West in there, you know. For a while, it was so much drama. Like, literally, they all got in a fight over the Sound of, what is it called? The Sound of Freedom movie. And then this mod wanted me to delete this other mod and ban him because of something he said. And like, Jesus, it's like high school. It's really ridiculous. I'm glad that's behind us. We're going to have, and Spooky, I appreciate that you want your wrench back, but I think, you know, like the Sith rule, the law of 2, I think we should have the law of 1, right? Because that prevents all these arguments and all these problems, right? Daisy B said, whatever happened with that? I always forget about Discord. Well, join our Discord. Art and Paranormal will be kind enough to share a link. Everybody can join our Discord. And we're going to start, by the way, doing voice chats in Discord, right? Spooky says, glad I skipped the drama. I was kidding about the wrench. Mine is honorary. Yeah, you'll always have an honorary wrench. Trademark, yes. So we've done our due diligence. But I have some good news. There is another great, if you thought there is a great new long form music video from the one, the only Simon Fly. You can check him out on YouTube. Just search Simon Fly, one word, I think, in the YouTube description, or excuse me, in the YouTube search bar. Just put in Simon Fly. And Simon Fly is the one who makes all these wonderful UFO and alien themed music videos and kindly allows us to use them on our show. We're thankful for his help and assistance. And I want to thank Mr. Ian, these wonderful AI face swaps. We're going to try to, you know what though? These AI face swaps are so good, but I don't want to overuse it, right? It's like an artist that gets a new brush and he just overuses that brush. It's one tool in the toolbox, Mr. Ian. Let's not overuse it. We have to move to other tools, but that's an incredible tool, and you saw some of that in the beginning. And right now, he's doing like AI face swaps of like David Grush as the Scarecrow, and he put Linda Moulton Howe as Dorothy. Oh my God, it's so funny. We're going to be bringing a lot of that kind of stuff to you. And here's another example of that. I don't know how to beg for money. I'm terrible at it. So I thought, who's best at begging for money on well, I was going to say television, but who's the very best at motivating people to send money? Televangelists. So we're going to be using those guys to beg for money going forward. Here's another example of this incredible AI face swapping technology.
I like being able to help others. I like being able to fulfill my dreams, and you know, it takes money to do what we're doing. That's why God gives you influence to help the world, to make it a better place. We don't ask for money, and people send in millions of dollars to help us keep the broadcast on the air. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a nice place to live and being blessed. And money should never be the focus of your life. If that's all you're doing, that's shallow. It should be to be a blessing to others.
That's right. I'm here to be a blessing to others. And every time you send me money, I get blessed and everybody gets blessed. We're all getting blessed, right? Get out your wallet. All right. So we've done our due diligence. I'm going to play us out with a wonderful new music video from the one, the only Simon Fly. Hopefully we'll be seeing lots more wonderful music videos from Mr. Fly in the future. So that's all I got for you, friends. We'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you'll be here with us. In the meantime, please check out our website, truthseekershow.com. You can get all the latest audio and video episodes right there from the website, truthseekershow.com. Follow me on Twitter, @Stephen Cambion. Follow me on Instagram. It's @Renegade Magician for right now. Hopefully we'll figure out how to change that. And you can follow our Truth Seekers page on Facebook, or follow me on Facebook as well. It's Stephen Cambion. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. We want to thank our kind and generous benefactors, you Patreon supporters, you YouTube channel members, you super chatters, PayPal pledgers, Twitch subscribers, gold pill people sending us some cash. Except for this Rumble, we're not making any money over there. Why am I maintaining a Rumble channel? Well, the good news is we're getting half the views we get on YouTube on Rumble already. But anyway, we want to thank all of our kind and generous distribution partners, kind and generous channel supporters, wherever you're at. We thank all of you for supporting us. And remember, it's not just money to throw at me to keep this show going. One of the other things you could do is like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. It really, really does help. Retweet some of my tweets that include the show link. Send some of these videos to your friends. Send us some subscribers. Listen, I say this with all respect and kindness. You're a weirdo. If you're watching this show, you're one of the weird ones, and I am too. But that means that you got some weird friends that would equally enjoy the show. So copy our channel link address or a video, send it to a friend. That really would help, and we appreciate all that help tremendously. It really does make a difference with the YouTube algorithm. My life is in the hands of a YouTube algorithm. Every day I say a prayer. Please, AI algorithms, help us find more subscribers. Recommend our videos for more people. Please find favor in our show and help us to grow. In Google's name we pray. Amen. Every day I have to say a prayer to a YouTube AI algorithm. But you can help us. You can help that AI algorithm like us more by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing these videos, by sending a video to your friend. Somehow it knows you did that shit, and it helps us out. So it's not always about money. Sometimes it's just about a few mouse clicks. That's all it takes to give us some support. We do appreciate all the support we got in 2023. I'm looking forward to more support, and especially more money in 2024. I'm not working for these goddamn Taco Bell wages much longer. So get your wallets out and get those pledges in and join my Patreon, bitches. All right. So that's all I got for you. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you'll be here with us. Until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
For the masses. Luis Elizondo. Luis Elizondo. Luis Elizondo. Luis Elizondo. For the masses. Luis Elizondo. Luis Elizondo. Luis Elizondo. Luis Elizondo. For the masses. Yeah. For the masses.
Good trouble shows. Good trouble shows. Good trouble shows. Good trouble shows.
For
the Soul Foundation.
Yeah.
The Soul Foundation.
For the weak grifters. Weak grifters. Grifters. Yeah. Weak grifters. Weak grifters. Grifters. For the masses.
We the people have to come together. We the people have to come together.
For the masses.
We the people have to come together. We the people have to come together.
Hi, everyone, here and around the world. Tall White, Nordic, Tall White, Nordic. Hi, everyone, here and around the world. Tall White, Nordic, Tall White, Nordic. The tall white extraterrestrials. Nordic, the tall white extraterrestrials. Nordic, the tall white extraterrestrials. Nordic, tall white, Nordic, tall white, Nordic.
UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies.
People who might not buy everything you're saying, who are skeptics, have said over and over again, no first-hand knowledge, maybe we shouldn't believe you. When you say you have first-hand knowledge, maybe we shouldn't believe you.
Legally hold the fact that we're not alone. We've recovered material and we've recovered documents. And beyond that, the fact that we're not alone. We've recovered material and we've recovered documents. And beyond that, ontologically shocking but also uniting.
Any evidence?
Ontologically shocking but also uniting.
Any evidence?
I'm an intel guy. Ontologically shocking but also uniting.
Any evidence?
Ontologically shocking but also uniting.
Any evidence?
I'm an intel guy.
Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Crash retrieval operation. Psychological phenomenon. Crash retrieval operation. Psychological phenomenon.
The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency.
For the masses.
Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Ontologically shocking but also uniting.
The death of UFO transparency.